We are on.
Oh, hey. We're live?
Oh, I forgot my shirt.
Oh, no. Dude, I ate so much pizza. feel, I feel bloated.
2A action.
Oh, yeah. That 2A. Let me go check. Hey, it's been a while. Hello.
It has been. What's up, everybody? Can I? Is it working? Is it working? We're good.
Yeah, it's good.
All right. Got to rep the 2A because you know it's going to come up tonight.
Oh, shoot. We don't have the...
So we are watching the thing that I don't know if we should mention because of,
Watching
things.
two old guys argue with each other. That's what we're about to watch. No,
Apparently we can't
debate.
actually stream it, so assuming you guys are watching it, enjoy our commentary. Hopefully it's. We should have something in the background, I guess. I mean, you did say we are just sitting here in silence.
Yeah.
I don't know if they can hear the speakers though, because we're not allowed to have the audio or the video, from what I understand, without getting cracked on. So
It's so dumb. It's so dumb.
fuck yeah, it's dumb. Is this working? I think we're good.
Oh, dang. They're just going right
Can you
in.
see it?
Yeah.
Where's the mouse?
They're just going right in.
They're not gonna waste time, dude. Yeah, you can't hear it. We'll get some background music. We gotta. Oh, he's already coughing.
Oh, my God.
Oh, wait. Oh no. He's struggling already, dude.
So
He's
he's already
talking so
talking about
fast.
the,
He's
he's
gonna
already
run out
talking
of-
about the pandemic.
Yeah. He's been practicing so much his voice is out.
Yep. Yeah, so you said they had him at Camp David?
Yeah, he was at Camp David all week practicing this. I might have to turn that up because we're gonna be talking. I can't hear it.
Crank that beat. Oh. That's fair. I'll try not to yell then.
To get some like music or something.
Dude, they have him pumped up with methamphetamine.
They have to.
Dude,
They
look how
have to. He's talking so fast. Trump's like, what?
Has it been 2 minutes yet? Like it's been 2 minutes, right?
Dude, he's gonna peter out so fast. Let's get this whiskey going.
Some whiskey. Yeah, we're gonna watch this, listen to it, and
I guess we're gonna provide our
glass of
commentary.
whiskey.
Yeah, have some whiskey.
What kind of whiskey is that? Where's it
This
from?
is Traverse City Distillery cherry flavored whiskey. Here, let me put this down so I can. I haven't even touched it yet. Here,
Oh yeah.
there we go. I can't really see. Here goes Trump.
Oh, I know we don't have open. We don't have chat open. I'll leave it open on my phone. Just me watching. Somebody else was in here, but they jumped
Oh,
out. Yeah.
Really?
There's probably Jason. Jason asked me what the name of the channel was again,
Oh, okay.
so I told him. Trying to make it equal.
We'll
I don't care. Cheers.
Yeah. Good luck, America.
Yeah. Leave it.
Damn.
Yeah, that stuff's good.
Yeah, it's
Cherry.
good. Especially on the ice there.
Oh, yeah.
That's for me. I got it on me. Go away, dog. Go away. Here he goes.
I do. My life was so much better under Trump. I had way more money.
Right. His voice is all fucking crackling and shit. You watch, his rating is gonna skyrocket tomorrow.
Who's?
Biden.
No way.
No, I think it's gonna artificially skyrocket.
I guess maybe it could. He's
Because
just
they're gonna slam Trump for being a convicted felon.
yeah, but he's just
they're
talking
gonna-
a bunch of BS right now, though.
Oh yeah, definitely. But people are buying it.
Not the
People have
majority-
been buying it.
Not the majority anymore. I don't think.
Wow.
It's spicy.
Ooh,
Spicy.
it's been a minute since I touched that one.
That's good though.
It is good, but
It's
Wow.
gotta burn. So
last time I had it, I don't remember it being like
the problem is what Biden was saying is that he was saying.
What's he doing?
You want to uncarpet?
No, let's not do that.
He was saying that
I'll walk right in front of the camera.
that the economy was not good under Trump. And he was saying how Trump had the biggest tax cuts for rich people. Yeah, but that tax cut helped everybody.
Right. I'm just gonna move that over here because we can't show it,
Yeah, I mean,
and they're just going crazy. So I don't think we're really gonna be getting into articles.
no.
They just
Oh.
fucking just went to him. I do need more volume though. Yeah.
Yeah. His administration is the worst in history.
Okay, we're good.
From Afghanistan?
You still live on your phone? Did you see him chasing his tail?
Yeah. He's
There,
running
he's
around.
doing it again.
Right.
Yeah. I'm not a Trump guy, but I mean he's speaking most. Of
You
the
can't
truth.
argue-
mostly the truth.
You can't argue though. If you cut taxes, it creates more growth.
Yeah, absolutely.
It creates a way better economic boom than if you increase taxes, the economy goes down.
Yeah, exactly. Look at him. He caught it.
boy. Oh, when he said liquid gold, I was like, wait, what are you talking about? Oh, oil. And we should open up drilling. We should open up oil drilling.
Look at him.
Bro, what is wrong with his eye?
Right? He's stuck. He got stuck for so long.
What was wrong with his eye?
Oh, we should be taking screenshots for the fucking memes.
Oh, that was funny as hell. He did. He like got stuck. He's like,
He did. He was just staring at him. Fucking side eyeing him. Look at him. Good boy.
so far, Trump is doing what I wanted him to do. We're still staying formal.
Yeah, so far. I can't believe we've had an ad already in this.
Yes. That's weird. I think if Trump stays formal as far as without going on the attacks so much,
Yeah, I think he'd
he'll
probably
pull-
fare a bit better.
he'll pull a lot more from the left because everyone, with this being on CNN, anyone watching this on CNN, they're gonna be like, "Oh, this guy isn't as bad as I thought he was."
What did he say? He stumbled a little bit.
He's saying the same thing he did before
Yeah.
about how he gave a bigger tax cut to the wealthy. Why am I paying more in taxes now?
right?
Why did my taxes go up then?
Remember, everybody, he said that anybody making under 400,000 wouldn't
Correct.
see any bit of more taxes. Okay.
I had to pay into the taxes
I like-
this year.
I like how they have the coordinating tie to the party.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Oh.
Oh, he ran out of time.
Facts.
Well, it's still under Obamacare.
Yeah. But Medicare and all that stuff
It's still Obamacare.
yep, Obamacare.
Obama's still the president. I've said it many times.
right. Well, yeah, Obama's controlling.
He's been part of this entire process.
Yeah.
There was he had some really concerning emails sent to him and stuff recently about it.
Well, even the whole process with Donald Trump's indictments and everything like that, Obama's been right there involved
Yeah.
with it, with pushing the Department of Justice and everything. Is that sound coming from this TV?
No, it's coming from the computer speakers. Does it pick it up at all? Oh,
Barely.
let me see.
Barely. Sorry, I was checking the sound, see if it's doing anything. And that's the way it should be. Now they're asking about abortion with it being the Roe vs. Wade taken away, which it should be a state issue.
Yeah. Everything
Government
should be a state issue.
Yeah, federal government shouldn't have authority over states. Not like that. That's a damn good answer.
Right.
That was a damn good answer. So I won't block it.
Biden was about to lose his mind. Then. Exactly.
should
Just
Roe-
what we just said. Yeah.
Abortion should be a state issue. That way, those people in a certain state, if people in that state vote for it and they don't want it, they have the right to vote for it that they don't want it.
Yeah, and it's the majority of the people.
It's the
so
majority of the people, correct.
I mean,
Now,
be mad if you want.
you can be mad if you want to, but
Move somewhere else.
you'll have states that will allow it and you'll have states that won't.
Right.
And what do people do? They align them.
They stay where they're at and complain about it.
Or they generally, yeah. But once people can't handle it anymore, then they'll flee California because they're being taxed to hell. It's the same thing.
Same as their entire restaurant industry is collapsing because they raised the minimum wage to $20.
Right.
I guess the original Arby's closed.
Really?
Yeah, the one in Hollywood. They closed up for good.
Bro, there's a lot of restaurants going out of business.
Yeah.
Even Red Lobster.
Yeah, they're filing bankruptcy.
Yeah.
Well, so here's the thing about that though. That's pretty crazy. The guy who owns Red Lobster also owns another seafood chain, and he sells shrimp, or he owns a distribution or something along those lines. He sells shrimp, so he
okay.
sells the shrimp to Red Lobster, which is his company. Charges Red Lobster rent for their spaces because a lot of them are franchises. I guess it kind of makes sense, right? But he was driving his own business into the ground on purpose.
That's wild.
Right?
Why?
Right. Take that with a grain of salt. That's what I've been reading on the internet, but
That's wild. So he owns the distribution. Makes sense.
selling bottom of the
actually-
barrel shrimp, like shit quality shrimp to
Right.
Oh, here's the kicker that I forgot about. Red Lobster started the all you can eat shrimp buffet
whoa,
thing, right? they start going crazy. People start going crazy on Red Lobster and eating all the shrimp. So they're shoveling all this shitty shrimp from this distribution, and now all these restaurants can't afford this free. They're giving away food.
Right.
They can't afford to keep up on it, and the guy's selling it at like premium prices, even though it's shit quality, and then charging them rent on top of that.
It makes
Next
sense
comes
because,
is bankruptcy.
well,
But it's his own company. He owns Red Lobster.
ooh, that just spiked out.
Did it?
Yeah. I've been coming back a little bit, like back here.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Yeah. But he did. If he did it like that, then it's gonna be. I mean, it'd be considered fraud.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's fraud.
Yeah,
because
definitely.
that goes. It affects your business insurance and all that bullshit. So
I mean, there had to have been something for him to gain from it,
there was something for him to gain. That's correct.
similar to
Well, because you're filing bankruptcy on the LLC. You're not filing bankruptcy on yourself.
right.
You're collecting the money that was lost from that LLC going bankrupt. So all that money is going to go into his pocket because that company went bankrupt.
So he 9/11'd himself.
He 9/11 to pay.
Look at his face. This is his training from all week going through. He's trying to remember. Look,
He just made no sense with that.
mm-hmm.
He just said abortion has 3 trimesters.
He's running through a memorized fucking script that he's been practicing all week. Notice how he doesn't move. He's just like,
Dude, he's slowly leaning forward.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
yeah. Then he shakes his head after.
Slowly leaning forward.
He's frozen again.
If I spike,
Look, he's like, oh, I fucked up.
yeah, you might want to turn down the mics. We're spiking it.
Oh, shit. I was getting too close, probably.
No, it's okay. I just spiked it from way back here. All right. Sorry if we keep clipping out. That's probably good right there. Yeah.
Oh, and we got an ad.
Oh well, if we're too low, then
Those are a really short ad.
hey, we got 3 people watching. Hey, thanks for watching.
Welcome.
We can't show any video from the debate.
Or
Can't
audio.
show have any audio from the debate.
But we're
because-
drinking whiskey.
But drinking whiskey, so
Oh, yeah.
that works. Drinking some whiskey. It's a little rough, but
It'll be all right. It'll buff out.
what's hair on your
We're not
knuckles?
going to have that much anyway. There's not a shitload to go through.
Did you say it'll buff out?
Yeah, it'll buff out. Trust me.
It'll buff out.
It'll buff out. Trust me.
Put hair on your nuts. One of the two.
They're
I'll
gonna
see.
try to. So here's their strategy. They're gonna try to occupy as much of this time frame as they can in moderators.
Oh yeah, for asking the questions.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're gonna take their time asking. The
I was
questions.
hearing that there was gonna be like 40 or nearly 50% of the entire broadcast is gonna be.
just the moderators,
moderators.
asking the questions. They have to.
They can't make him stand there that long.
If they go fast, at some point, Biden is gonna slowly go over that hill where he's gonna go downhill
He went
fast.
almost cross-eyed there.
Oh yeah, Jason, I'm struggling to drink whiskey.
It'll be all right.
It'll be all right.
It'll be all right.
I don't really drink
Do
whiskey.
we need
The only-
something in the background? I feel like it's too quiet in here for like for the stream. It's just like us sitting here.
No, we'll just keep rambling and drinking whiskey.
Okay.
I'm fine with that.
There he goes.
They're talking about the immigration crisis now.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't think he knows what he's saying. It's just that New Yorker thing, dude.
It's gotta be.
He talks with his hands so much.
It's
With
repeat.
Trump.
It's predictable. It's like this. It's like this. It's
So
like,
huge.
yeah.
Yeah.
Everything is exaggerated. He's not wrong though.
Yeah, Jason, it's
Did you just like guzzle that?
no.
Oh,
It's
that's
cherry Grand Traverse Bay cherry whiskey.
Oh, it's so good.
It is good.
It's so fucking good.
It is good, but that first couple
The first
First
couple
couple
sips
sips
were
are-
pretty rough.
oof.
Brandon. He did not. He did not just Brandon him.
He just called him Brandon.
He did, I think.
That's funny.
Ooh, he's getting heated. Trump's getting tilted. What? Spit it out.
Oh, he's done, he's done.
Damn.
It's over.
Well, he's like
Biden
he's trying to run through like pre-scripted stuff that he's been attempting to memorize for the last 4 days.
There's no data
What?
to support that
That
there's
people are
terrorists.
pouring through the border. Oh yeah, there was like 6 of them arrested a few days. They were admittedly
What about the people that
ISIS.
were hunted down and what about that cop that was hunted down in New York?
That one I don't think was ever like admitted to be a terrorist.
They weren't terrorists. There were 6 illegals.
They were illegals, yeah. They were talking about terrorists. Same thing.
That's the same thing to
Same
me.
thing.
Al Baghdadi and
Salamani. He died like a dog. That's what he said when he
Yeah,
died.
yeah. That was
He
fucking
died
hilarious.
like a dog.
That's hilarious.
Everywhere. Joe Biden has yet to say the name Laken Riley.
Right.
There's been 3 rapes in the last few days of children by migrants. Just recently, there was announced that there was upwards of 50 ISIS members across the United States
Yeah. Yeah, they've
that they know of.
Yeah, that they know of. Well, even like look at that group of like 300. I don't even know how many it was, but military age men of Chinese descent.
They talk a lot about the southern border, but nobody's talking about the northern border. You know
Yeah,
there's
the
people
northern.
coming-
No shit.
You know there's people coming from up there.
Right.
You can literally walk across that border.
Right. There's people's houses that are basically on that border.
Right. They
Over in,
literally
like
they-
Montana.
did you know they clear cut a like half-mile section across the entire U.S. Canadian border?
Did they really?
Yeah, it's literally like a half-mile wide. It's one of the few borders in the world that you can see from space.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know they did that.
It's pretty wild.
It used to be where like kids would just there's like little like concrete structures, like just small little
Oh, I'd like the
boulder
four corners.
things, and people would just walk through.
Oh,
they
yeah,
go-
I know what you're talking
They
about.
go hang
yeah.
out with their neighbors that live in Canada, like people that live in like Montana and stuff.
Are you serious? Veterans are better off? Okay. Have you seen the state of the VA? No, they're not. I got denied.
Yeah, that's a bold statement. It's bold statements that Biden's making. Dude, go ahead and piss
That
off.
is some fucking bullshit. He's speaking lies to your face.
Right, piss off the veterans. Go ahead.
He did say that though. He's not lying. No, it wasn't. You said it. That part's not
Bro.
wrong, but he did
That-
say that.
I
he did say
know,
that.
but that just made
Oh, Biden losing his mind there.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's
that's
wh-
not a good image for him.
When people talk about being formal,
Oh yeah. Look at him. He's getting heated, dude.
yep, he's gonna lose it.
He's
What
getting
happens-
fucking heated.
Hey, what happens when you bend somebody that has dementia? Like when you push their mental state to where they start getting angry. They snap like that. Was Caleb watching too?
Yeah, he's on.
Oh, nice.
You just said that.
What did Biden say? I didn't understand.
Something about a 4-star general. That's what he said last time he spoke.
Oh,
He's wasting his time. No.
no.
The answer is no. No. Show me the proof.
Trump was fixing the VA. It was getting better, and then it just got destroyed again.
I can't stand that guy. He's so mad. He's fucking seething. He is fucking seething. Look at him. Yeah,
Bro.
13 of them died.
Yeah.
And on the last day of Afghanistan war.
It's crazy because. Yeah, I wish we could have this playing.
I know. I wish we could too. I feel like we'd get shut down like immediately.
Probably would.
I don't know if there's anybody else streaming it though. I could do some looking, I suppose. It wouldn't take much for us to make it happen. We just don't have the audio hooked up.
I'm gonna look really quick
Okay.
because if there's other people streaming it, then other news channels. Steven Crowder has it live.
On YouTube?
Yep.
Yeah, but his channel's bigger. Like way bigger. What part are they at?
I don't know. Russia's war against
Okay,
Ukraine
about the
acceptable to
same then.
Trump.
Pretty much around the same time. Aha, he said malarkey. That's one off my bingo list.
Is it?
Yeah. It is a drink.
Russian fit.
I legit. I'll have to show
Oh,
you.
yeah.
I legit. I seen it on a bingo card I grabbed.
PBD. Yeah, there's multiple channels. Yeah.
All right,
we can
let's
put
just
up.
do it.
All right, hold up.
Stand by.
Stand by.
I gotta step out of it.
Yep. I wonder if we can play. Maybe we could just play Steven Crowder streaming the debate. There's a less chance of us being taken down at that point, right? Has they got volume? Oh yeah.
Listen to what he said when he went in. He was going to take Kyiv in 5 days, remember? Because it's part of the old Soviet Union. That's what he wanted to reestablish, Kyiv. And he, in fact, didn't
check.
do it at all. He wasn't able to get it done. And they've lost thousands and thousands of troops, 500,000 troops.
President Trump,
I
as
never
come back
said
to you
that.
for 1 minute, I just want to go back to my original question, which is, are Putin's terms acceptable to you? Keeping the
No, they're
territory
not
in Ukraine?
acceptable. No, they're not acceptable. But look, this is a war that never should have started. If we had a leader in this war, he led everybody along. He's given $200 billion now or more to Ukraine. He's given $200 billion. That's a lot of money. I don't think there's ever been anything like it. Every time that Zelensky comes to this country, he walks away with $60 billion. He's the greatest salesman ever. And I'm not knocking him. I'm not knocking anything. I'm only saying the money that we're spending on this war, and we shouldn't be spending, it should have never happened. I will have that war settled between Putin and Zelensky as president-elect before I take office on January 20th. I'll have that war settled. People being killed so needlessly, so stupidly, and I will get it settled, and I'll get it settled fast before I take office.
President Biden, you have a minute.
The fact is that Putin is a war criminal. He's killed thousands and thousands of people. And he has
at least
made
we
one
caught it.
thing clear. He wants to
good. Is it
reestablish
that one?
what was
Yeah.
part of the Soviet Empire,
Yeah,
not
that's
just a
right.
piece. He wants
We're good.
all of Ukraine.
okay.
That's what he wants. And then you think he'll stop there? Do you think he'll stop when if he takes Ukraine? What do you think happens to Poland? What do you think of Belarus? What do you think happens to those NATO countries? And so if you want a war, you ought to find out what he's going to do, because if in fact he does what he
pronounced
says and walks
Belarus.
away, and by the way, all that money we give Ukraine are from weapons we make here in the United States. We give them the
Goes into
weapons,
Zelensky's
not the
pocket.
money at this point. And our NATO allies have
Didn't we do an
produced
article
as
a few
much
weeks ago about how like a certain
funding for
percentage of that
Ukraine
has
as
never
we have. That's why
made it to
that's
the
why we're
intended-
strong.
we're
Thank
supposed
you.
to
Moving
go?
on to
I
the
feel
Middle
like we did
East.
something on that.
In
Yeah, something
October,
like that.
Hamas
Like
attacked
they were saying
Israel,
that the politicians
killing
were
more
like
than
stealing it and
1,000
stuff.
people and taking
Yeah,
hundreds
it's
of
lining
hostages.
politicians' pockets.
Among those held and
All
thought
that
to
money.
still be alive are 5 Americans. Israel's response has killed thousands of Palestinians and created a humanitarian crisis in Gaza. President Biden, you've put forward a proposal
Trump said
to
he was in
resolve this
all the
conflict,
wars that
but so
ever
far,
happened.
Hamas has not released
I don't know how he
the
would
remaining
have meetings
hostages,
with
and
Honestly, think
Israel
he would
is
be, but-
continuing its
I
military
don't know
offensive
how.
in Gaza. So what additional leverage will you use
Well,
to get Hamas and
The
Israel
way he
to end
stopped
the war? You have
Putin
2
from
minutes.
going into
Number one,
Ukraine when
everyone
he was president,
from the
is he sent
United
a
Nations
picture
Security
of Putin's
Council,
home
straight through to the
Putin
G7, to the Israelis, and
message
Netanyahu
saying,
himself
like,
have endorsed
"You
the
do
plan I
this,
put forward.
I'm gonna
Endorsed
make
the
your
plan I
home."
put forward, which has 3 stages to it.
He Trump
The first
admitted
stage
to it.
is
Fucking ballsy.
trade the
Trump admitted to it.
That's
hostages,
ballsy. I don't support that.
ceasefire.
But that's
Second
ballsy.
phase
I don't
is a
either,
ceasefire
but-
with additional conditions. The
I don't
third
think the
phase
way to
is
end wars is be
no-
like,
the
hey,
end of the
I have the
war.
bigger
The only
penis
one who wants
because
the war
that
to continue is Hamas.
Well, no, the
Number
the
one.
problem
They're
the
only ones
problem
standing
is
out. We're still pushing
the
hard
reason why
to
it
get them to
works
accept. In the
with
meantime,
Trump. It wouldn't
what's
work with
happened
somebody like Biden.
in
Well,
Israel,
of course,
we're
because they're
finding
gonna
that
call
the
it
only
bluff.
thing I've denied Israel
Biden
was
is predictable.
2,000-pound bombs.
Biden is
They
predictable.
don't
Trump
work
is
very
not.
well in populated areas. They kill a lot of innocent people. We're providing
the most
Israel with
part.
all the weapons they need and when they need them.
Trump is
And by
on
the
I don't
way,
know. I find him
I'm the
predictable.
guy that organized the world
mean,
against Iran when they
to-
had a
to somebody that pays
full-blown
attention.
All of these
intercontinental
people.
ballistic missile
This
attack
entire
on
everything
Israel.
is
No
predictable.
one was hurt. No one
It's all
Israeli was
predictable.
accidentally killed, and it just stopped. We saved Israel. We are the
This is
biggest
all just a game they're
producer
playing with us.
of support for Israel.
None of this
anywhere
is
in the
real.
world. And so that's there are two
Honestly,
different
that's the way I
things.
feel. None of this is
Hamas
actually real. This
cannot
is all
be
bullshit.
allowed to be continued. We continue to send our experts.
All of it
and
is
our
bullshit.
people as to how
These
they can
people
get
at the end of the
Hamas
day, they're like,
we
"Oh,
did bin Laden."
good day, sir."
You don't have to do it. And by the way, they've
shake
been
each other's dicks and
greatly
leave.
weakened, Hamas. Greatly weakened, and they should be. They should be eliminated.
No,
But you've got to be careful for what
Because-
using certain weapons among population centers.
it's hard. It's hard because with who
Just going
Trump
back to
is,
Ukraine for 1 second. We have an ocean separating
he's
us.
never changed.
The European nations together.
His views like
have spent
where he
$100
aligned
billion or
politically
maybe
changed.
more than that, less than
But
us.
even like years ago,
Why doesn't he
like,
call
when he
them and
was
say, you
younger,
got to
he
put
still
up
said
your
the
money
same
like I
thing.
did with NATO? I got them to put up hundreds of
Never really
billions of
kept much
dollars. The
attention
Secretary
to him.
General
If you
of
watch
NATO
interviews
said
with
Trump
him
did the most
when he was
incredible job
younger,
I've ever seen.
he said
Oh,
You
okay.
wouldn't, they
he
wouldn't
said
have
the
any,
same
they were
thing,
going out
like,
of
all
business.
these
We were spending
political
almost
elite, blah, blah, blah.
100% of the money was,
He'd
it
always
was
say the same
paid
thing.
by us. He didn't do that.
Biden's face.
He's
the
getting
whole
all,
time is so
you got to
funny.
ask these people to put up the money.
Everything
We're over
offends
$100
him. Look at
billion
him.
more spent, and it has a bigger impact on them because of location,
He's old
because
and
we have an
senile. He has
ocean in between.
dementia. Of
You
course,
got
he's
to
going to
ask
get
him, as
pissed
far
off
as
and frustrated
Israel
easily.
and Hamas. Israel's
I mean,
the
I
one
get
that wants
pissed
to go.
off
He
and
said
frustrated
the only
easily,
one who wants
too,
to keep
so there's
going is
that.
Hamas. Actually,
I'm a
Israel is the
cheap
one,
date.
and you
Let's
should
keep
let him
on
go
cheap
and
date.
let him finish the job. He doesn't want to do it. He's become like a
Damn.
That doesn't
Palestinian,
take me much
but
either.
they
I
don't
don't
like him
fucking
because
agree.
he's a very bad Palestinian. He's a weak one.
And I ate a bunch of pizza.
President Biden, you have a minute.
I kind of
I've
want
never
more
heard so
people.
much foolishness. This is a guy who wants to get out of
Foolishness.
NATO. You're going to stay in NATO?
Should have said malarkey
He's going
again.
to pull out of NATO. The idea that we have, our strength lies in our alliances as well. It may be a big ocean, but we're ever able to avoid a war in Europe, a major war in Europe? What happens if, in fact, you have Putin continue to go into NATO? We have an Article 5 agreement. Attack
It's
on
gotta
one
be
is
so
attack on
weird.
all.
There's nobody
You
there.
want to
It's
start
just
the
them.
nuclear war he keeps talking about, go ahead. Let Putin go in and control Ukraine,
typically there's a
and
big
then
audience.
move on to Poland
Yeah.
and other places.
They're doing.
See
They're treating it
what
like
happens
fucking
then.
COVID.
He has no idea what the hell he's talking about. And by the way, I got 50
You know, and I
other
remember,
nations around the world
like, the
to
last
support
election,
Ukraine, including Japan
the first-
and South Korea.
The
because
first
they
debate,
understand
there was
that this,
4 or
this,
5
this kind
people
of
up there.
dislocation has a serious
Yeah.
threat to the
Where
whole
where'd
world
everybody
peace.
go? Why did everybody
No,
drop
no
out so
major war in
quickly?
Europe has ever been able to
They
be
dropped
contained
out.
just to
They
Europe.
I don't know.
President
I feel
Trump,
like
just to
Vivek
follow up,
Ramaswamy had
Would
a
you
pretty
support the
decent chance,
creation
at
of
least
an
to hang
independent
for a while.
Palestinian state in order to
Yeah.
achieve
Nikki
peace
Haley
in the
hung
region?
around
I'd
longer
have
than
to
I
see,
thought
but
she would.
before we do
Honestly,
that, the problem we have
don't like
is that
Vivek,
we spend
though.
all the money. So they
I
kill
think
us on
he's gonna be
trade. I
the
made
VP
great trade deals
pick.
with the European nations
I think it
because
is.
if you add them up,
I just
they're
don't like
about the
how he had
same
his
size
schooling paid for
economically.
by
Their
Soros.
economy is about the same
Well, yeah,
size
and he's
as the
also
United
a
States.
World
And they were
Economic
no
Forum
cars,
member.
no. They don't want anything that we have, but we're supposed to take their cars, their food, their everything, their agriculture. I changed that. But the big thing I changed is they don't want to pay. And the only reason that he can play games with NATO is because I got them to put up hundreds of billions of dollars. I said, and he's right about this, I said, no, I'm not going to support NATO if you don't pay. They asked me that question, would you guard us against Russia at a very secret meeting of the 28 states
that
at that
happened with,
time, nations at
when
that time?
Merkel was
And I
in.
said, no, if you don't
Remember
pay,
that?
I won't
No.
do that. And you know what happened?
When,
Billions
with
and
Angela
billions of
Merkel or
dollars
whatever.
came flowing in the next day and the next
Maybe it's not
months.
Angela, but Merkel.
But now we're in the same position. We're paying everybody's
you.
bills.
Let's turn to the issue of democracy.
really ringing a
Former
bell.
President Trump,
Oh.
I want to ask you about January
force
6,
them to pay-
2021.
Oh, here we
After
go,
you
January
rallied your
6th.
To pay
supporters
their
that
dues to
day,
NATO 'cause
some
they
of them
weren't paying.
stormed the Capitol to
He's like,
stop
"No,
the
you're good."
constitutionally mandated
They
counting of
weren't paying
electoral
NATO at
votes.
all.
Oh,
As
okay.
president, you swore an
That's what
oath
it's
to,
about.
quote,
Oh,
preserve,
okay, that
protect,
actually
and
kind of
defend,
doesn't. I
unquote, the
remember that
Constitution.
vaguely now.
What do you say to voters who believe that you violated that oath through your actions and inaction on January 6th and worry that you'll do it again?
Well, I don't think too many believe that. And let me tell you about January 6th. On January 6th, we had a great border. Nobody coming through, very few. On January 6th, we were energy independent. On January 6th, we had the lowest taxes ever. We had
Yeah.
the lowest
You know, I
regulations
remember when
ever.
gas prices
On
were
January
$1.
6th, we were
What
respected
did it
all
have,
over the world.
$1.87?
All
I
over
think
the world,
yeah, I
we
think
were
it was
respected.
$1.87 the
And
day
then he comes
Biden took
in,
office.
and we're now laughed at. We're like a bunch of stupid people.
Yep.
What happened to the United States' reputation under this man's leadership is horrible, including weaponization, which I'm sure at some point you'll be talking about, where he goes after his political opponent because he can't beat him fair and square.
You have 80 seconds left. My question was, what do you say to those voters who believe that you violated your constitutional oath through your actions and inaction on January 6, 2021, and worry that you'll do it again?
Well, I didn't say that to anybody. I said peacefully and patriotically.
He did.
And
then they
Nancy
deleted
Pelosi,
the
if
video
you
the
just
same-
watched
like
the
6
news
minutes
from 2
later.
days
It was only
ago,
up for a few
on
minutes.
tape to her
They
daughter, who's a
selectively added so
documentary
much, yeah.
filmmaker, they say. But she's saying, oh, no, it's my responsibility. I was responsible for this. Because I offered her 10,000 soldiers or National Guard, and she turned them down.
Nancy
and the mayor
Pelosi
of,
recently admitted
in writing,
that
by
they
the way, the
didn't
mayor,
have- that they
in
should
writing,
have
turned it
called
down. The mayor of
Yep.
It was her.
DC.
She admitted
Yeah,
that it was
They
her
turned
fault.
it down.
fault,
I
yeah.
offered 10,000 because I could see I had virtually nothing to do. They asked me to go make a speech. I could see what was happening. Everybody was saying they're going to be there on January 6th. They're going to be there. And I said, you know what? There's a lot of people coming. You could feel it. You could feel it too, and you could feel it. And I said, they ought to have some National Guard
Bro,
or
I don't know
whatever.
if I could do 90 minutes.
And I offered it to her, and she now admits that
It's only
she
gonna
turned
get
it
better.
down. And it
It
was
is- oh,
the
it's gonna
same
go downhill,
day she
bro.
was, I don't know, she can't be very happy with her daughter because it made her into a
Hold on,
liar.
hold on.
She said, I take full responsibility for January 6th.
President Biden?
Yeah.
Look, he encouraged those folks to go up on Capitol Hill,
No, he didn't.
number one.
He
I
encouraged them
sat
to
in the
be
dining
peaceful,
room off the
go-
Oval
go home
Office.
in
He
peace.
sat there for 3 hours.
See,
3 hours.
here's the
watching,
problem that the left has.
begging, being begged
They
by his vice
continuously
president and a
recycle
number
and
of his colleagues
recycle
in the
lies.
Republican
Until
side as
everyone
well,
believes it.
to
That's
do
what they
something.
plan on doing
Call
with
for
him
a
being
stop, to
convicted
end it.
felon. Just
Instead,
say
he
it, say it,
they
say it
talked
until
about these
everybody
people
believes
being
it.
I think it
patriots
doesn't
and-
work anymore.
And great patrons of America.
I don't
In
think
fact,
it works. That's
there
why you
doesn't.
have
says he'll
people
now
even in
forgive them for what they've
Detroit.
done. You know, they've
that
been
no
convicted.
longer wanna
He
vote
says he wants to
Biden.
commute their sentences. And
The man on the
say
street
that,
videos, dude,
no,
that I've seen.
but he
In,
went to every single
New York
court in the
City.
nation.
In New York
I don't
City,
know how
in
many
Detroit,
cases.
in the Bronx.
He just
Scores
did a
of
speech
cases
in the
and put in
Bronx
Supreme
not long
Court.
ago.
Yeah, and he
And
had
they
like
said,
107,000 people there.
this guy is
Or some shit like
responsible
that.
for doing what was done.
It's not.
He
They're
did do a
bullshit.
damn
It's not-
thing.
it's not working
And these people
anymore.
should be in jail, and they should be the ones who are being held accountable. And he wants to let them all out. And now he says if he loses again, such a whiner that he is, that it could be a bloodbath.
Thank you, President Biden.
That's not what he
President
said
Trump?
either. You're taking that
What
out
they've
of
done
context.
to some people that are so innocent, you ought to be ashamed.
Really?
What if you could fill them suddenly with unforgettable
I'm
memories?
sorry. This is bullshit.
Ashamed of yourself. What you have done, how you've destroyed the lives of so many people. When they ripped down Portland, when they ripped down many other cities, you go to Minnesota, Minneapolis, what they've done there with the fires all over the city. If I didn't bring in the National Guard, that city would have been destroyed. When you look at all of they took over big chunks of Seattle. I was all set to
Well,
bring
that's
in the
why-
National Guard. They heard that. They
That's
saw
why
them
Michael
coming and they
Rappaport,
left
that actor I was telling you
immediately.
about, that's why
What he said
voting for
about
Trump is on the
this
table.
whole subject is so
That's
off.
somebody that was, like,
Peacefully
bashing
patriotic. One other
hard.
thing.
But
The
the reason why I said
Unselect
voting
Committee,
for Trump
which
was
is
on the table is 'cause
basically two
he used to
horrible
live in LA.
Republicans that are all gone
He
now
said it's
out of
gotten so
office,
bad that he
and
had to
Democrats,
move.
all Democrats.
It affected his
They
life so bad
destroyed
I
and
bet.
deleted all of the
I bet it
information
did.
Yeah,
they found
I'm-
because
I
they
am-
found out we were right.
voting for
We
Trump
were
is on
right.
the table.
And they deleted and
But voting for
destroyed
this
all
guy
of the
like I did
information. They should go
in the
to
past-
jail
in
for
the
that.
last
If a
election,
Republican did
will
that, they
never
go to
be
jail.
Thank you, President Trump.
Democrat.
President Biden, I want to give you a minute.
The only person on this stage is
Well,
a convicted felon is the man I'm looking at right now.
Oh, here we go.
And the fact of the matter is, what he's telling you is simply not true. The fact is that there was no effort on his part to stop what was going on up in Capitol Hill. And all those people, every one of those who were convicted, deserves to
That's
be
not what you
convicted.
convicted
The
them
idea
for.
that they didn't kill
was for
somebody,
nothing.
just went in and broke down doors,
They
broke
were
the
fucking
windows, occupied
misdemeanors.
offices, turned over desks,
Well, they
turned them
weren't-
over
I mean, they were
statues. The
misdemeanors, but they
idea
were
that
past
those
the,
people are patriots, come on.
Statute
When
of
I asked him the
limitations,
first
yeah.
two debates we had, the debates
Well,
we
yeah,
had
they let that
first
run
time
on
around,
purpose.
I said, will you denounce the Proud Boys? He said, no, I'll tell them to stand by. The idea he's refusing, will you denounce these guys? Will you
Those are
denounce
all
the people we're
facts.
talking about now? Will you denounce the people who attacked that Capitol?
You know,
What are you going to do?
maybe that was a hint by Trump.
What are you gonna do?
I'm going to give you a minute, President Trump,
Hey,
for
was that
a
hint by
follow-up question
Trump?
I have.
When he was asked about Proud Boys
After a
and he
jury
said, "Oh, just
convicted
tell them to
you
stand
of
by."
34 felonies last month, you
Isn't
said
that
if
something you
reelected,
tell,
you would, quote,
like,
have every right to go
police force or-
after, unquote, your
Well,
political
they were there
opponents.
to-
You just
they were
talked
there for
about
false flags,
members
and
of the
there was no-
Select
there wasn't a
Committee on
prime
January
opportunity
6th
for
going
it.
to
Well, actually,
jail.
January
Your
6th
main
was a
political
false flag
opponent is
when
standing on
it
stage with you
When you
tonight.
put a police
Can you
officer on
clarify
the
exactly
standby-
what it means about you feeling you have every right to go after your political opponents?
Well, I said my retribution is going to be success. We're going to make this country successful again, because right now it's a failing nation. My retribution is going to be
continue to be.
success. But when he talks about a convicted felon, his son is a
There's a way to
convicted
fix
felon
that.
at a very high level.
No,
His
the
son is
natural
convicted, going to
progression
be
of the-
convicted
of
probably
the,
numerous other
empire
times.
is about
Should have been
250
convicted
years,
before,
and
but
we're right
his
at the very
Justice
fucking
Department
peak of it.
let the
We're about
statute
to
of
just
limitations
fucking
lapse on the
festival.
most
And here
important
comes
things.
China from the other
But he
fucking
could be a
side.
convicted
They're gonna
felon
take
as soon
over
as he
everything.
gets out of
Yeah, but
office. Joe
there-
could be a
there's a
convicted
way to
felon with
fix
all
it.
of the
You
things that he's
completely
done.
got the-
He's done
right,
horrible
the
things.
federal government
All of the death caused at
back to
the
its
border,
constitutional fundamentals.
telling the Ukrainian people that
You
we're going to want
completely
$1
got
billion or you change the prosecutor.
Go back to
Otherwise, you're
just
not
the
getting $1 billion.
legislature,
If I ever said that, That's quid pro
executive
quo.
and,
That
judicial.
we're not going to do anything.
Yeah, but, like,
we're
what
not going
about
to give
half
you
of
$1
the
billion
nation
unless you
who's gonna
change
be
your
like,
prosecutor having to do with
the
the
left
son. This
is gonna
man is a
be-
criminal. This
what are you
man,
gonna do
you're
about them?
lucky.
They're not
You're
gonna be
lucky.
okay
I
with
did
that at
nothing
all.
wrong. We'd have a system that was rigged and disgusting.
that
I
or
did
death.
nothing wrong.
Well,
Thank you, President Trump. President Biden, you have
That's when
said,
things
I'm
start
coming
to
right
get
to
a
you,
little
sir.
weird.
Yeah,
Well, you want to
it's
respond? Go
that
ahead. I'll give you
or
a minute
it
to respond.
Gets hot.
The idea that I did anything wrong relative to what you're talking about is outrageous.
You know what I mean?
It's simply
There's
a
no other
lie,
way out.
number one.
Well, no, there
Number
isn't.
two,
There's no way out of
the
any
idea
of
that
this.
you
There's
have
no
a right
political
to seek
solution.
You get rid of-
retribution
you
against
get
any
rid of the
American
Federal Reserve,
just because you're president.
and you
is
completely got the
wrong.
federal government.
It's simply wrong. No
and all
president's ever
that
spoken
money
like
that
that
China
before.
handed us.
No
you tell
president
them
in
to
our
go pound
history has
sand.
spoken like that before.
Well, you just
Number
tell
three,
everybody to pound sand,
The
but the ones who
crimes that
don't,
you are
well,
still
I don't know.
charged with. And
what do
think
you
of
do,
all the civil
really?
penalties you have.
You can't
How many
just, like-
billions of dollars do you owe in civil
That's-
penalties?
that's not
for,
okay.
For
Yeah.
molesting a woman in public, for doing a whole range of things.
That's why.
of
How do you
having
do that?
sex with a porn star.
It's tyrannical, but in the same
while
sense.
your wife was pregnant.
it's
I mean,
the
what are
same
you
thing with
talking
funding
about?
politics.
You
Well,
have the
yeah.
morals of an alley cat.
There's too many of us. That's the problem.
minute, sir.
And
I didn't have sex
everybody's
with a
been
porn
so
star,
divided,
number
like
one.
multiple times.
Number
and
two,
so
that was a case that
for
was
so
started
long.
and moved. They moved
There is no
high-ranking
political
official, a
solution.
DOJ,
Yeah.
into the
We
Manhattan
are at
DA's
the
office to start that
precipice of our
case.
collapse.
That case is going to be
That is
appealed
it.
and
There's
won.
there's
We
nothing
had a
else.
very
that is it.
terrible judge, a horrible judge, Democrat. The prosecutor were all high-ranking
I en-
Democrats,
I
appointed
envy it.
people, and
I can't do
both
it.
the civil and the criminal.
I have
He
to have
basically
optimism.
went after his political
there's a way to
opponent
fix it.
because he thought it was going to
There's a way
damage
out
me.
of
But
it.
when the public found out about these cases, because they understand it better than he does, he has no idea what these cases
not,
are. But when they found out about
the
these
point?
cases, you know what they did? My poll numbers went up, way up. You know that because you're
Have to have
reporting it. And we
Have to
took
have
in
both.
more money in the last 2 weeks
you know
than
what
we've
they say,
ever
there's
taken
4
in
boxes
the
of
history
whiskey.
of any campaign. I don't think
secret.
any campaign has ever taken hundreds of
All of
millions
these
of
ones
dollars
are
came pouring in
censored,
because the public knows it's a
restricted,
scam
or-
and it's a
or,
guy that's after his political opponent because he
what have
can't
you.
win fair and square.
Last
Thank you,
one,
President Trump.
the one
President
you can buy
Biden,
on
you
the
have
shelf.
said, quote, Donald Trump
Well,
and his MAGA
yeah.
Republicans
That's true.
are determined to destroy American democracy.
I mean, that's
Do you
part of-
believe that the tens of millions of Americans who are likely to vote for
fundamentals of
President
freedom.
Trump will be voting against American democracy?
The more they
going
know
back to
about
the
what he's
fundamental
done,
rights.
yes.
Remember what I said I'm doing
The
on
more they know
November
about
5th?
what he's done. And there's a lot more coming. He's got a lot of cases down the road coming around. He's got a whole range of issues he has to face.
I'm voting, but
I
I'm
don't
not
know what
voting
the
for
juries
either
will
of
do,
these
Do it
but I
right.
do know he has a real problem. And so the fact that, could you ever think you heard any president say that I'm going to seek retribution? Do you ever hear any presidents say that I thought Hitler had some good ideas? What got me involved to run in the first place after my son
least I
died,
get one
decided
attempt to use
in
that one
Iraq
box.
because of Iraq. I said I wasn't going to run again until I
It's
saw
been
what happened
stolen
in
from
Charlottesville,
us.
Virginia. People coming out of the
gradually over
woods
time,
carrying swastikas.
The last time it
torches,
was completely
torches,
stolen from us.
and singing the same
We have the
anti-Semitic
opportunity
pile
to do
they
something with it
sang
this time.
back in Germany.
That isn't
And what did-
traditional.
and the young woman got killed. I spoke to the mother.
You know what?
And
I
she-
dare
they
I
asked
say it
him,
is
they said,
traditional.
What
It
what
is
do you
traditional.
think of those people? The ones who got killed, the one who tried to stop it, and the ones he said, I think they're fine people on both
But-
sides.
What
What
did Thomas
American
Jefferson say
president
about the Liberty
would ever
Tree?
say
it needs to be
Nazis
done.
coming out of fields carrying torches, singing the same
I think
anti-Semitic
everybody's getting
pile,
the point.
carrying swastikas.
It does need
We're
to be
fine
said.
people.
What
And this is
about
the guy who says
swastikas?
Hitler's done some good things.
I'm feeling
I don't
that
know what
whiskey.
they are.
man. I really am.
Good things Hitler's done. That's what he
All right,
said.
I gotta.
This guy has
gotta
no
not.
sense of American democracy.
Yeah, I'll take another small
President
one.
Trump.
Jake, both of you know that story has
gonna
been
be all
totally
too.
Yeah,
wiped
same.
out because when
And
you see
too
the
much of a
sentence,
bitch
it
to
said
handle any
100%
alcohol.
exoneration
We're
on
gonna
that.
have to
So
do
he
a
just keeps it
dog
going. He says he ran
outdoor
because
dog
of
time here,
Charlottesville. He
because
didn't run
of-
because of Charlottesville. He ran
Are they
because it
gonna
was
do
his
a vote?
last chance. He's not equipped to be president. You know it, and I
No,
know
he's
it. It's
not.
ridiculous.
He's
We have a
old,
debate.
he's
We're
frail.
trying to
Definitely
justify
not
his
equipped to
presidency.
be
His presidency, he's without question the worst president, the worst presidency
said
in the
that. We
history
don't
of our
need to say it
country.
1,000
We
times.
shouldn't be
You
having a
said it already.
debate about it. There's nothing to debate.
I mean, you're
He
right.
made up the Charlottesville story, and you'll see it.
I don't even know why we
debunked
are
all
having
over
a
the place.
debate. Everybody- see,
Every
here's what I was
anchor has
saying earlier
every
with a
reasonable
coworker
actor
of mine.
has
Why
debunked
even are
it.
we having a
And just
debate
the other
between
day it
Trump
came
and
out
Biden?
where it was fully debunked.
We know who
It's
both of them
a
are.
nonsense
They
story.
can't
He
say
knows
anything
that,
we haven't
and
heard
he
already.
didn't run because of
Right, you
Charlottesville.
got
He
two
used that as an excuse
contradictions.
to run.
Presidency.
President Biden?
and
Yeah.
You've
debunked.
seen
It
both of
happened.
their presidents.
All you have
Yeah.
to do is listen to what was said at the
You
time.
have things that you don't like
and the
about this
idea
one and
that
this one, and you
somehow
have things
that's
that
the
you do
only
like
reason
about
I
this
ran.
one and this one.
I ran because
A
I
lot
was
of
worried
people
a guy
don't
like this
like
guy
about
could get
anything
elected.
about this
If
one,
he
and a lot of
thought
people don't
they
like
were
about
good
anything
people
about this
coming out
one.
of that
What do
forest,
you really do?
carrying those woods,
majority of
carrying
people
those
right now
torches,
should look
and he
at
didn't
both
deserve
of
to be
these and be
president.
like,
Didn't deserve to
how
be
was
president at
my
all.
life
And the idea
under
that he's talking about
each one?
all this being fabricated, we saw with
Because
our
they
own
have
eyes.
the
We saw what happened on
contradiction.
January 6th. We saw the people breaking
what I
through the
mean?
windows.
Yeah.
We saw people
Well,
occupying
here's
the
the
My
here's the
life
really
is
vice
better under
problem.
president.
that one
Look, there's a
than it is
reason
now.
why.
Well, let's say
40
that
of his
one does
44
get
top cabinet
Right.
officers refused to endorse
That
him
one
this time. His vice president
put in
hasn't
a bunch
endorsed him
of
this time.
stuff
So why? Why? They know him
sneakily
well.
into some
They serve
bills
with him.
to
Why are they
restrict
not
this one
endorsing
from
him?
doing anything. If
Thank
he
you,
is
President
elected.
Biden. We're going to be right back with more from the
So
CNN
what is the
presidential debate.
Oh, it's better than this one getting elected because this one gets elected.
I'll say
wouldn't
so. They're
stop.
doing a break. Let's do a dog thing. Let's do a quick
Consistently
one.
say
We'll be
Well,
back.
let's see what
their
they say
top
real quick.
concern, the economy. President Biden,
I guess they're just going to
inflation
kind of cover
has
it. All right,
slowed,
we're going to
but
be back.
prices
Give us
remain
like 5
high.
minutes.
Since you took office, the price
I'm
of
gonna have
essentials
to-
has increased.
Wait, I thought it
For
was a
example,
break.
a
We can
basket
talk.
of groceries that cost $100
I guess we can just leave
then
it.
now
We'll just
cost
leave it
more
up,
than
and I'll just
$120.
mute the
And
mic.
typical home prices have jumped more than 30%.
All right, we're going to take the dog outside.
What do you say to
refill the
voters who
whiskey.
feel
We'll
they
be
are
back.
worse off under your presidency than they were under President Trump?
Oh wait,
We got to take a look at what I was left
We're doing a
when I
thing
became
with
president.
Biden by himself.
Mr. Trump left me. We had an
Oh
economy
no, it's
that
another
was in
question.
free
I
fall.
lied.
The pandemic was so badly
I
handled.
wasn't listening.
Many people
I
were
thought they were
dying.
taking a
All he
break.
said was, "It's not that serious. Just inject a little bleach into your arm. You'll be all right." The economy collapsed. There were no
All right,
jobs.
we'll be.
Unemployment rate rose to 15%. It was terrible. And so what we had to do is try to put things back together again. That's exactly what we began to do. We created 15,000 new jobs. We brought out the position where we have 800,000 new manufacturing jobs. But there's more to be done. There's more to be done. Working class people are still in trouble. I come from Scranton, Pennsylvania. I come of a household where the kitchen table, if the things weren't able to be met during the month, it was a problem. Price of eggs, the price of gas, the price of housing, the price of a whole range of things. That's why I'm working so hard to make sure I deal with those problems. And we're going to make sure that we reduce the price of housing. We're going to make sure we build 2 million new units. We're going to make sure we cap rents so corporate greed can't take over. The combination, what I was left with in corporate greed, is the reason why we're in this problem right now. In addition to that, we're in a situation where if you take a look at all that was done in his administration, he didn't do much at all. By the time he left, things were in chaos, literally chaos. And so we put things back together. We created, I said, those jobs. We make sure we had a situation where we brought down the price of prescription drugs, which is a major issue for many people, to $15 for an insulin shot as opposed to $400. No senior has to pay more than $200 for any drug, all the drugs they can include beginning next year. And the situation is and we're going to make that available to everybody, to all Americans. So we're working to bring down the price around the kitchen table, and that's what we're going to get done.
Thank you. President Trump?
We have the greatest economy in the history of our country. We have never done so well. Everybody was amazed by it. Other countries were copying us. We got hit with COVID, and when we did, we spent the money necessary so we wouldn't end up in a Great Depression, the likes of which we had in 1929. By the time we finished, so we did a great job. We got a lot of credit for the economy, a lot of credit for the military.
I was born with crappy teeth, and I met this great team, and the first thing I said to them is, I am too young and too cute to not have teeth. And they said, you're in the right place, Ruthie. We're gonna get you all set up. And they did. When I came out of surgery and they told me I had teeth in my head, I started to cry. And I looked in the mirror. I saw me. It was me. And it made me cry because I hadn't seen me or been me in a really long time. And it's nice to be back to me. Before I got my dental implant, I never opened my mouth. I wouldn't eat around anybody. Anytime I had to laugh, I would hide. Now I just laugh all the time with my mouth wide open. I just don't care. Everybody just said, how come you smile all the time? And I said, because I can. It looks good and I can.
The fact of the matter is there's more small black businesses that have been started than any time in history. Number two, the wages of black unemployment is the lowest level it's been in a long, long time. Number three, we're trying to provide housing for black Americans and dealing with the segregation that exists among these corporations that collude to keep people out of their houses. And in addition to that, we find that the impact on the choice that black families have to make relative to child care is incredibly difficult. When we did the first major piece of legislation in the past, I was able to reduce black child care costs. I cut them in half. We got to make sure we provide for child care costs. We got to make sure, because when you provide those child care protections, you increase economic growth because more people can be in the job market. So there's more to be done, considerably more to be done. But we've done a great deal so far, and I'm not letting up, and they know it.
You have 49 seconds left. What do you say to black voters who are disappointed with the progress so far?
I say I don't blame them for being disappointed. Inflation is still hurting them badly. For example, I provided for the idea that any black family, first-time home buyer, should get a $10,000 tax credit to be able to buy their first home so they can get started. I made sure that we're in a situation where all those black families and those black individuals who had to take out student loans that were ballooning, that if they were engaged in nursing, doctor, and anything having to do with volunteerism, if they paid their bills for 10 years on their student debt, all the rest was forgiven after 10 years. Millions have benefited from that. And we're going to do a whole lot more for black families.
Thank you, President Trump.
And he caused the inflation. He's blaming inflation, and he's right, it's been very bad. He caused the inflation, and it's killing black families and Hispanic families and just about everybody. It's killing people. They can't buy groceries anymore. They can't. You look at the cost of food where it's doubled and tripled and quadrupled. They can't live. They're not living anymore. He caused this inflation. I gave him a country with essentially no inflation. It was perfect. It was so good. All he had to do is leave it alone. He destroyed it with his Green New Scam and all this money that's being thrown out the window. He caused inflation. As sure as you're sitting there, the fact is that his big kill on the black people is the millions of people that he's allowed to come in through the border. They're taking black jobs now, and it could be 18, it could be 19, and even 20 million people. They're taking black jobs, and they're taking Hispanic jobs, and you haven't seen it yet, but you're going to see something that's going to be the worst in our history.
Thank you. President Biden?
What do we miss?
There was no inflation when I became president. You know why?
You're
The economy
fucking
was
lying,
flat
you
on its back.
motherfucker.
15%
It was a
unemployment.
1.4.
He decimated the economy. Absolutely decimated the economy. That's why there was no inflation
No.
at the time.
Here's the thing that
there were no
everybody
jobs.
knows.
We
Yeah.
provided thousands of millions of jobs for individuals.
Like, you think
who
you
are
can
involved
bullshit
communities,
us,
including
but-
minority
They've been trying to
communities.
say
We made sure
that it was
they have health
9% when
we
he
have
became
covered,
president. It was
the ACA
1.4.
has increased. I made sure that they're
That's the fact.
$8,000 per person in a family.
Everyone
get
knows how
written
it
off for
affected their
health care.
fucking pockets.
But this guy wants to eliminate that. They tried 50 times. He wants to get rid of the ACA again, and they're going to try again if they win. You find ourselves in a
paid for it,
position
so
where
isn't it?
the idea that we're not doing anything.
I just bought. I
We
mean,
put
I
more
just
police on
always
the
use-
street
I have one
than
of
any
those literally
administration
right there.
has.
It's just
he
an
wants to
Ozark
cut the
bottle.
cops.
This
We're
one's
providing
pumping
for
flavor
equity,
in my mouth. though.
equity and
Oh,
making
really?
sure people
Yeah,
have a
this thing's a
shot
flavor
to
thing.
make it. There's a lot going on, but in inflation,
Yeah.
he caused it by his tremendous malfeasance in the way he handled the pandemic.
Thank you. Another
Reasons.
persistent challenge is the climate crisis.
He forgot how to say
2023
malfeasance.
was the hottest year in recorded history, and communities
Mal-
across the country are
Feasance.
confronting the devastating effects of extreme heat, intensifying wildfires, stronger hurricanes, and rising sea levels. Former President Trump, you've
what about that
vowed to
anomaly,
end
though?
your opponent's
Yeah, let's
climate
talk about that.
initiatives, but will you take any action as president to slow the climate crisis?
Well, let me just go back to what he said about the police, how close the police are to him. Almost every police group in the nation from every state is supporting Donald J. Trump. Almost every police group. And what
does that
he's
have to
done
do
to
with
the
the climate
black
crisis?
population is horrible, including the fact that for 10 years he called them super predators. We can't, in the 1990s, we can't forget that. Super
Wait.
predators was
Wait a
his
minute,
name.
now what?
And he called it to them for 10, and they've taken great offense at it, and now they see it happening. But when they see what I did for criminal justice reform and for the historically black colleges and universities, where I funded them and got them all funded, and the opportunity zones with Tim, as you know, Tim Scott was incredible. He did a great job, great senator from South Carolina. He came to me with the
he's
idea, and it
definitely
was a
not
great
answering my
idea. It's one of the
question,
most
honestly.
successful economic development acts ever in the
He's doing
country,
that on purpose.
opportunity zones. And the biggest beneficiary
That's
are
not-
blacks.
that's
And
not
that's
helping him
why
at all.
we have the best
He's using
numbers
up
with
as
them
much time
in
as he can too.
maybe ever.
Yeah.
They're saying ever. I
what
read
he's
this
doing.
morning where ever, the best numbers. He's lost much of the black population because he's done a horrible job
using
for
it to
black
attack
people.
Biden.
He's also done a horrible job
And
for
not
Hispanics.
even
But
addressing
wait till you
what
see
he asked
these
him at
millions
all.
of people pouring into our
Not a
country,
good
and they're
look
going to
for
take
him.
the jobs. And it's already started, and you haven't seen anything yet. It's a disaster.
You've 38 seconds
dog
left,
come on?
President Trump.
I don't
Will
think
you
he
take
did.
any action as president to slow the climate crisis?
So I want absolutely immaculate clean water, and I want absolutely clean
What about-
air, and we had it.
what about Flint?
We had
Nobody's
H2O.
ever done anything
We had
about
the
Flint.
best numbers ever, and we were using all forms of energy,
state
all
issue,
forms, everything. And yet, during my
Yes and
4
no.
years, I had the best
it-
environmental numbers
Well, the reason
ever.
why it happened
And
is 'cause
my
they
top
switched
environmental
water
people
sources
gave me
from
that
the-
statistic just before I
I
walked
don't
on the
remember
stage,
which way it
actually.
went, but from the Detroit River to a different
know
water
where the hell
source,
he's
or from a
been.
different water source.
The
Right.
idea
Or something like
At
that.
its
Anything
core,
he
it is
said
a
is
state
true.
issue, but the federal
I've
government can
passed the
step in
most
and say, hey,
extensive-
you're harming a
most
lot of people by
extensive
not
climate
doing
change
anything. Do something.
legislation in
Yeah.
history. In history, we find ourselves, and by the way, black colleges. I
Well, that was-
came
that was
up
one
with
of the
$15 billion
one of the
for
things- that was one of
HBCUs,
the things they
historic
whipped
black
for it.
universities and colleges.
Right.
What
Because
history
they
done
don't
about it?
have those, they don't have the
Nothing.
kind of contributors that they have to build these laboratories and all
Damn,
that.
Whitmer.
Any black student is capable in
We have
college of doing
heard,
any
so-
white student can do. They just don't have the money, but now they'll be able to get those
know, that's
jobs in high tech. We're in a situation where the idea that he is claiming to have done something that had the cleanest
Wait,
What happened?
he started stuttering. They took it down.
No shit. I missed it because I was petting the dog. Fuck, I was petting the dog. I missed it. He was stuttering?
Yeah, he started to stutter, and then it went down. See if it's up on a different.
water,
Oh, there you go.
cleanest water.
They waited
Ain't done
until
a
he
damn
wasn't
thing with the
stuttering.
environment.
Listen to his voice.
And it was a disaster. But everything
What
that he
the-
said just now, I'll give you an example. I heard him say before insulin. I'm the one that got the insulin down for the seniors. I took care of the seniors. What he's doing is destroying
cut it
all
'cause
of
he
our
was
medical
stuttering.
programs.
This is why
because
they
the
won't
migrants
let
coming
reporters
in,
inside.
They want everybody.
Yeah.
'Cause they
and
won't
look,
be able to
I
see
have
it
the-
live.
I have the biggest
Yeah.
heart on the stage. I
They have to
guarantee you
watch
that.
it from across
And I
the
want to
street.
take care of
Across the
people.
street from
But we're
Fifth
destroying
Street.
our country. They're taking over our schools, our hospitals, and they're going to be taking over Social
was
Security.
wild.
He is destroying
I also
Social
heard
Security, Medicare,
Earlier
and
that
Medicaid.
that normally YouTube has a 7-second delay.
The
Yeah.
idea
They're
is
going to
that
bump that up to
we,
like
in
over
fact,
a minute or more.
We were the
makes
only
sense,
ones
that's
of
why it-
consequence who were not.
It jumps
We're
like
not.
that.
So they have
members
time to
of
let
the
him
Paris
stutter,
Accord.
and then when he's done
How can
stuttering,
we
they
do
can turn
anything?
it back on.
We've not able.
And then when
the
pe-
United
when
States
we
can't get its pollution
call it
under
out, they're going to
control.
say, "Oh, that was
One
a
of the
glitch."
largest polluters in the world. Number one, we're making
He's starting to
significant
go.
progress. By 2035, we will have cut pollution in half.
His voice is
We have
cracking.
made
starting to go.
we have made significant progress, and we're continuing to make progress.
crashing
We set up
bad.
a climate corps for thousands of young people will learn how to deal with climate, just like the Peace Corps. And we're moving in directions that are going to significantly change the elements of cause of pollution. But the idea that he claims that he has the biggest heart up here and he's really concerned about pollution and about
Interesting.
climate,
Let's see if there's
I've not
anything
seen
on
any
Twitter.
indication of that. And by the way, with regard to prescription drugs, one company agreed that they would reduce the price to $35, which I was calling for, one, voluntarily. I made sure every company in the world, every pharmaceutical company, cannot have to pay.
Thank you.
And by the way,
So every day, millions of Americans struggle just to make ends meet. For many older Americans,
By the
Social
way-
Security provides a critical lifeline. President Biden, if nothing is done to Social Security, seniors will see their benefits cut in just over 10 years. Will you name tonight one specific step that you're willing to take to keep Social Security
Maybe I'm trying to
solvent?
focus.
yes, make the very wealthy begin to pay their fair share. Right now, everybody making under $170,000 pays 6% of their income, of their paycheck, every single time they get
You
a
could
paycheck
probably
from the
talk
time the
about
first
it,
one they get when they're 18 years old.
This is
The idea that they're gonna,
Fuck
I'm
yeah,
not,
it is.
I'm proposing that
They should have just
everybody-
been
they
like,
pay-
fuck it, send Obama in there.
millionaires pay
On FanDuel Casino, new players get up to
That's what they should have
$1,000
done.
back and 200
They should have been
bonus
like,
spins
fuck
for
it,
the
send
number one
Obama.
feeling, winning.
Fucking
Ranking higher than the
bad.
34th best feeling,
Can't skip it.
Yeah, sorry.
successfully avoiding your neighbor.
Gamble. FanDuel.
Amazing.
1%. 1%. So no one after, I would not raise the cost of Social Security for anybody under $400,000. After that, I began to make the wealthy begin to pay their fair share by increasing from 1% beyond to be able to guarantee the program for life.
So you still have 82 seconds left. Are there any other measures that you think
There's
that would be
also a
able to
simple
help
fix to
keep
Social
Social Security
Security.
solvent, or is that one enough?
Well, no, that one enough will keep it solvent, but the biggest thing I'll do if we defeat this man, because he wants to get rid of Social Security. He thinks there's plenty to cut in Social Security. He's wanting to cut Social Security and Medicare
His voice is
both
struggling.
times. And that's what. And if you look at the program put forward by the House Republican caucus
how you fix
that
Social
I
Security?
believe supports,
You put
is
it
in
in a
fact
system to
want
where
to
it's
cut it
like
as well.
where
The
the money, when
idea
the money's
that
coming in,
we
for
don't need to protect
Social
our
Security
seniors
collection
is ridiculous.
through taxes and
We
all that
put,
bullshit.
and by the way,
You put it in a system where
American
it's
public
generating
has greater
compound
health care
interest,
coverage today than ever
and it
before.
would fix it.
And on the ACA, as I said, you're in a circumstance where
I'm not a huge
400,000
supporter of it.
people,
I'm not
I mean,
either,
40
but there's
40
a way
million
to fix
people
it so
would not have insurance
runs
because they have a
efficiently.
pre-existing condition.
And then
Only thing
at
allows them
some
to
point
have
you
that
would be able to
insurance
take less
is
money
the
from
fact
people.
that they in
I'm not
fact
for
are
it.
part of the ACA.
Right.
And by the way, the other
Well,
thing
the thing is,
we're in a
they have it
situation
set
where we
up
talk
for
about
a
education for
fund that you
black
put money
communities. I've
into.
raised the
Under the
amount of money
the
for
guise
Pell
of
Grants.
this
another
money for you
$8,000
later
for
when
anybody
you
making
retire.
under
It's really you're just building
$70,000
an
a year, gonna
emergency
be able
fund
to Get
Yeah,
$15,000 to
because
a
they draw
physician.
from it all the time.
Yeah, always suck
He
on
he just doesn't know what he's talking about.
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump.
So I've dealt with politicians all my life. I've been on this side of the equation for the last 8 years. I've never seen anybody lie like this guy. He lies. I've never seen
always
it. He
has,
could look you in
the
the
whole
face.
fucking career.
About so many other things too. And we mentioned the laptop. We
His whole
mentioned Russia,
career he's
Russia,
lied
Russia,
like that.
Ukraine, Ukraine, Ukraine. Everything he does is a lie. It's misinformation and disinformation.
Let me remind
the
everybody
losers
when
and
he
suckers story
became
that he
president,
made
he
up
said,
is a
"I'm going to
total
be
lie
the
on
most
military.
transparent president
It's
in
a
history."
disgrace. But
He's
Social
been the
Security,
farthest from it.
he's destroying it because millions of people are pouring into our country, and they're putting them onto Social Security. They're putting them onto Medicare, Medicaid.
That was
They're
also
putting them in our
the same thing.
hospitals.
I was
They're
waiting for you to
taking the
make my
place
first
of
move,
our
honestly.
citizens. What
That's
they're
what she
doing
said.
to the VA, to our veterans, is unbelievable. Our veterans are living in the street, and
That
these
pork
people are
is
living in
fucking
luxury
something.
hotels. He doesn't know
Yeah.
what he's doing, and it's really coming back. I've never seen such anger in our country before.
President Biden.
The idea that veterans are not being taken care of, I told you before. And by the way, when I said suckers and losers,
Probably
he
something
said
like that is what
he
I was gonna
acknowledged
do,
after
too.
that he fired that general. That general got fired because he's the one that acknowledged that that's what he said.
What
He was the
general?
one standing with
The one
Trump
that you brought
when
up
he said
2
it.
other times.
Number one. Number two, the idea that we're going to be in a
Yeah, I think
situation
so.
where all these millions and millions, the way he talks about it, illegal aliens are coming into the country and taking away our jobs. There's a reason why we have the fastest growing economy in the world. The reason
Oh,
why we
here
have the
we
most
go.
successful economy in the world.
Our economy's
We're
growing
doing
so
better than any
fast,
other
man.
nation in the world. And by the way, those
Right.
15 Nobel laureates he talked about being
Your
phony,
economy, meaning
those
your
15
wallet.
Nobel laureates, economists, they all
You
said
get richer
that
while the
if
rest
Trump
of us are
is
fucking
reelected, we're likely
struggling.
to have a recession, and inflation is going to
The crazy
increase
thing
and
is
go
to
up.
make a
And by the
statement.
way, worst president in history.
I know. Like, people are gonna
159
be like,
presidential
you-
scholars voted
Like,
him
like
the worst
anybody who
president
votes
in
for
the
him
history of
aren't
the United
buying
States of
anything
America.
and
You are
seeing what's
so-
happening.
President Biden, thank you so much. Let's turn to the cost of child care, which many American families struggle to afford. President Trump, both you and President Biden
Like, you're-
have tried
the
to address
economy
this
that you
issue.
are seeing
But the average cost of child care in this country has risen to
It's
more
his
than
wallet. That's it.
$11,000
I was
a year
like, oh,
per
this is
child.
pretty
For
good.
many families,
Oh, yeah,
the
look at
cost
all
of
this thing I
child
got
care
from
for
China.
2 children
Oh my
is
God.
more than their
The
rent.
economy is
In your
great.
second term, what would you do to make
Look at all
child care
this
more
CP that
affordable?
Hunter Biden is selling.
Just to go back, the general got fired because he was no good. And if he
you
said
don't
that,
need
that's
to
why
do
he
that.
made it
That's
up.
a
But we
B.
have 19 people that said I didn't say it, and they're very
You're
highly respected,
wasting your
much more
2
so than
minutes that you
him.
have to answer the question.
The other thing is, he doesn't fire people. He
Oh,
never
don't.
fired
I
me.
think they do
I've
get
never
a
seen him
brief
fire anybody.
moment
I
to
did fire a lot.
rebuttal.
I fired Comey because he was no good. I fired a lot of the top people at the
Oh, you're
FBI,
flinging
drained the
stuff.
swamp. They were no good. Not easy to fire people. You'd pay a price for it, but they were no good. I inherited these people.
God.
I didn't put them there. I didn't put Comey there. He was no good. I fired him. This guy hasn't fired anybody. He never fires.
Hello, friend.
He should have fired every military man that was involved with that the Afghanistan horror show, the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country. He didn't fire. Did you fire anybody? Did you fire anybody that's on the border that's allowed us to have the worst border in the history of the world? Did
You got
anybody get
roped in there,
fired for
Larry.
allowing
He
18
was fucking
million
sprinting
people,
in the
many
backyard,
from
and you're like,
prisons,
"Oops,
many
so we
from
have-
from
we have, like, this
mental
25
institutions?
foot
Did you fire
tether,
anybody that allowed
the
our
runner.
country to
It's
be
a- yeah, it's a
destroyed?
tether thing.
Joe, our
And then
country
there's a
is
runner
being
that- it's
destroyed as you
attached
and
to,
I
so he
sit
has,
up
like,
here and waste a lot of time on this
25
debate.
foot
This
radius.
shouldn't be
You
a
can
debate.
basically move
He's the
around.
worst president.
We don't use it all
He
the
just said
time,
about me
but
because they said it.
sometimes we put him on
but
it.
look, he's
Right.
the worst president in the history of our
And,
country. He's destroyed
he
our
was, like,
country.
out there,
Now
got
all
the
of a
fucking
sudden he's trying to
zoomies,
get a
he's
little
sprinting
tough
back
on
and
the
forth,
border.
and
He
he, like,
came out
ran where
with
the-
a nothing
the
a
tether
nothing
is, like,
deal,
coming
and it
down
reduced
from
it a little bit,
the
a
fucking
little
runner.
bit. Like
Oh,
it's
it went, like,
it's
right over his shoulder, and then,
insignificant.
like, he just kept
wants
going,
open
and it got to
borders.
the end,
He wants our
and it,
country
like,
to
went
either be
around his
destroyed
leg.
or he wants to pick up those people
Ooh,
as
yeah,
voters.
yeah, that's why he got that
And
rope- that
I
rope
don't
burn.
think we
makes
just can't
sense.
let it happen. If he
Ouch.
wins this election, our country
right on
doesn't
his
have a
dick.
chance,
It is
not
right
even a
across his
chance
dick, man.
of coming out of this rut. We probably won't have a country left anymore. That's how bad it is. He is the worst in history by far.
Thank you, President Trump. President Biden?
We're the most admired country in the world. We're the United States of America. There's nothing beyond our capacity.
we
We
were.
have the finest military in the history of the world. The
Wow.
finest in the history of the world. No one thinks we're
You're
weak.
destroying it.
No one
You have people
wants to
who
screw
are
around with us.
pretending to be
Nobody.
dogs in the
Number one.
military.
Number two,
Just
the
saying. And
idea
they're in, like,
that
high
we're
level
talking about
positions.
worst presidents. I
Just
wasn't
saying.
joking.
You
Look
have
it up.
people who are
Go
pretending
online.
to be-
159
Women
or
that are
58,
Yeah,
don't hold me
and
the
it-
exact number.
They're in high level
Presidential
positions.
historians. They've had meetings and they voted who's the worst president
cool.
in American
Good for you,
history.
boo-boo,
One
but-
through best to worst.
No, not
They
there.
said he was the
Not there.
worst in all
Not
of
in
American history.
decision-making
That's a
zone.
fact. That's not conjecture. He can argue they're wrong, but that's what they voted. The idea that he is doing anything to deal with child care, he did for virtually nothing to child care. We should significantly
You know what
increase the
Biden's
child care
childcare
tax
is?
credit. We should significantly increase the availability of women and men or single parents to be able to go back to work. And we should encourage businesses to have
Thank you, President
child care
Biden.
facilities.
President Trump, the question was about what would you do to make child care
No,
more
that's
affordable, if you want to take your minute.
Just so you understand, we have polling, we have other things that they rate him the worst because what he's done is so bad. And they rate me, I'll show you, I will show you. And they rate me one of the
microphone just
best,
cut.
okay?
You tried to cut him off and
And
his microphone
if I'm
turned
given
off. Did you see
another
that?
4 years,
Biden
I will
did?
be
Yeah.
the best. I think I'll be the best.
That's the first one.
Nobody's
He was the
ever
first one to make the move.
created an economy
Hey,
like us.
and mute the
Nobody ever
mic.
cut taxes like us. He's the only one I know. He wants to raise
didn't
your
see either of
taxes
us
by
do it,
4 times. He wants to raise everybody's taxes
Look at
by
him getting
4
pissed.
times. He wants the Trump tax cuts to expire. So everybody,
Why does he look
including
like
the
that?
two of
He's
you, are
frozen
going to pay 4 to 5 times.
He's angry.
Nobody ever heard of this before.
frozen
All
again.
my life, I'd grow up and I'd see politicians talking about cutting taxes. When we cut taxes,
doing?
as I
His
said,
watch now?
we did more business. Apple
the
and all
text
these
message on his
companies,
watch?
they were
that
bringing
old bag needs to
money
die
back
now.
into our country. The worst president in history by far, and everybody knows it.
President Biden?
I don't know
Look,
what
the fact
bag,
of the
but-
matter is that he's dead wrong about
Right.
He's increased the tariff. He will increase the taxes
ready
on
to
middle
just,
class
like,
people. I
be
said
at a
I'd never
retirement
raise the
home,
tax on
next to
anybody
the
who makes
pond,
less than
feeding the
$400,000. I didn't.
Well,
But this
just
tariff
go
is
to the
10%
village
tariffs.
in Florida
Everything
and
coming in the
fucking
country,
retire.
you know what the economists
Right.
say?
It's-
You can
That's
catch
going
all
to
the
cost the average
SUVs.
American
Right. They're just waiting.
$2,500 a year more because they're going to have to pay the difference in
It's crazy because
food
that is the highest
and all the
per
things that were
capita
reported.
of
Number
STDs.
two,
I've read about
he's in a
that
situation
pretty
where
recently, actually.
he
It's
talks
all
about how he
retired
has
old people that
not
just
raised,
bang
he's
each other.
somehow helped
And
the
it's
middle
like,
class.
It is
Middle
what it
class
is,
has
I
been
guess.
It is what it
devastated
is,
by you.
yeah.
Now you want a
Damn.
new tax cut
It's
of
just a
$5
big
trillion over the next
old
10
folks-
years,
Pass.
which
old
is going to
folks orange.
fundamentally bankrupt the country. You had the largest
Those were
deficit of any president in American history, number one. Number two, you have not, in fact, made any contact, any progress with China. We are the lowest trade deficit with China since 2010.
Pretty good. I like
Thank you,
We're the
President
highest.
Biden.
You lost
Thank you, President
$160.
Biden. Let's discuss an epidemic impacting millions of
him off.
Americans that both of you have made a top
I like
priority
that
in
they
your
cut
first
the
term,
mic, though.
the
That was funny.
opioid crisis.
I
And
feel
for
like he
both
was the
of
first
you,
one to make
the
it happen.
number
Yeah,
of
Trump
overdose
had-
deaths
see
in this country
Trump
has
do
gone
it.
up. Under your term, it went up. Under your term, it has gone up. Former President Trump, despite the efforts that both of you have made, more than 100,000 Americans are dying from overdoses every year, primarily from fentanyl and other opioids. What will you do to help Americans
Wow,
right now
CNN's
in the
actually
throes of
acknowledging that?
addiction who are struggling to get the treatment they need?
To finish up, we now have the largest deficit in the history of our country under this guy. We have the largest deficit with China. He gets paid by China. He's a Manchurian candidate. He gets money from China. So I think he's afraid to deal with them or something. But do you notice he never took out my tariffs because we bring in so much money with the tariffs that I imposed on China. He never took them away. He can't because it's too much money. It's tremendous. And we saved our steel industries, and there was more to come, but he hasn't done that. But he hasn't cut the tariffs because he can't, because it's too much money. But he's got the largest deficit in the history of our country, and he's got the worst situation with China. China's going to own us if you keep allowing them to do what they're doing to us as a country. They are killing us as a country, Joe, and you can't let that happen. You're destroying our country.
So, President Trump, you have 67 seconds left. The question was, what are you going to do to help Americans in the throes of addiction
should
right
pull
now
this
who are
one.
struggling to get the treatment they need?
Jake, we were doing very well at addiction until the COVID came along. We had the 2.5, almost 3 years of like nobody's ever had before, any country, in every way. And then we had to get tough. And it was the drugs pouring across the border it started to increase. We got great equipment. We bought the certain dog that's the most incredible thing that you've ever seen, the way they can spot it. We did a lot, and we were getting very low numbers, very, very low numbers. Then he came along. The numbers, have you seen the numbers now? It's not only the 18 million people that I believe is even low, because the gotaways, they don't even talk about gotaways.
What were you saying?
But the numbers
dog- he said we bought
the
a
amount of
specific
drugs
dog that's
and
really
human
good at finding
trafficking in
drugs.
women coming
Malinois
across
or,
our border. The worst thing I've
the
ever
German
seen.
Shepherd.
At numbers that nobody's ever seen under him because the border's so bad. But the number of drugs coming across our border now is the largest we've ever had by far.
President Trump, thank you. President Biden?
Fentanyl and the byproducts of fentanyl went down for a while. And I wanted to make sure we use the machinery that can detect fentanyl.
Oh, sweet. Yeah, just do a...
Big machines that roll over everything that comes across the border. And it costs a lot of money. That was part of this
Do
deal.
we have
we put
volume over
together,
there?
This bipartisan deal.
Yeah.
More fentanyl machines, more be able to detect drugs, more numbers of agents, more numbers of all the people
I think
at the
it's
border.
the volume up
And
top.
when we had that
Up
deal
top,
done,
yeah,
he
Oh.
called his Republican
Yeah, we're
colleagues and said,
good.
"Don't do it. It's going to hurt me politically." No, he never argued it's not a good bill.
There you go.
It's a really good bill. We need those machines. We need those machines.
God, their
And
faces
we're coming
are bigger
down very
now.
hard in every country in Asia in terms of
Hey, at least
precursors
people-
for fentanyl, and Mexico is working with us to make
least
sure
people can see
they don't have the
Biden's
technology to
fucked
be
up
able to
face.
put it together. That's what we have to do. We need those machines.
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump, and again, the question is about
Oh, I did see
Americans in the throes of addiction right now struggling to get the treatment they need.
Well, because this does pertain to it. He ended Remain in Mexico. He ended catch and release. I made it catch and release in Mexico, not catch and release here. We had so many things that we had done, hard negotiations with Mexico, and I got it all for nothing. It's just like when you have a hostage. We always pay $6 billion for a hostage. Every time we say it's a hostage. Now we
One
have a
thing I like
hostage, the
whiskey-
Wall Street
whiskey
Journal
for
reporter.
is making
I
hot
think a
toddies.
good guy.
Never
And
had
he's
whis-
over there
it's,
because Putin is laughing
ounce
at
of
this guy,
whiskey.
probably asking for billions of dollars
Or an ounce
for
or
the
two.
reporter.
A shot
I
of
will
whiskey.
have him out very
And then, like,
quickly.
6 ounces
as
of
soon as
water.
I take office, before I take
Ginger,
office, I said
lemon
by
juice.
literally as soon
put
as
it
I
in the
win the
microwave
election, I will have that
for,
reporter out. He should have
like,
had him
30
out a long
seconds.
time ago. But
So it's
Putin's
warm.
probably asking for billions
drink
and
that when you
billions
have,
of
like, a
dollars
cold.
because this guy pays it every time.
Okay.
It just-
We had 2 cases where we paid $6 billion for 5 people.
It completely
I got
cleans you out.
58 people out, and I
Oh, yeah,
paid
and honey.
essentially
Yeah,
nothing.
funny too.
Thank you,
Honey's
President
good, I'll
Trump.
take
Dana?
it.
Let's turn to concerns that voters have about each of you. President Biden, you would be 86 at the end of your second term.
Yeah, last
How do you
time I got
address concerns
sick with
about your capability
what it
to
was,
handle the
COVID.
toughest job in the world well into your 80s?
Some random shit.
some
Well,
random
first of
shit,
all,
but
I spent half my
I was
career
making hot
being,
toddies every day.
being
'cause I couldn't
criticized as
breathe.
being the youngest
Okay.
person
When I was
in
drinking those,
politics.
and
I
it
was the
like,
second youngest
dude,
person
out of any,
ever
any-
elected to the
out
United
of
States Senate.
Mucinex, out
And now
of
I'm the
any of
oldest.
the medications
This guy's
that
3
they
years
had on
younger
the
and a lot
shelf,
less competent.
nothing was
I
helping.
think that just look at
Wow.
the record. Look at
And I
what I've
had,
done. Look how I've turned around
like,
the horrible
slight
situation you
pneumonia.
left me. As I said,
And
15 million new
I was
jobs,
drinking the hot
800,000
toddies, so it was the
manufacturing
only
jobs,
thing that helped.
more investment in
Fired it
America,
up and I could actually
over billions of dollars in private investment in enterprises.
It was one of
We
those
are
times where, like,
growing.
I could breathe,
By the way, we brought an awful lot of people.
but it didn't feel like anything was going
The whole idea
Okay.
of computer chips, we used to have
That's weird.
40% of the market.
Weird
We
feeling.
invented those chips, and we lost it because he was sending people to find the cheapest jobs overseas and then bring home a product. So I went to South Korea. I convinced Samsung to invest billions of dollars here in the United States, and guess what? Those fabs they call that to build
What is he
these chips.
talking about?
Those fabs pay over $100,000. You don't need a college degree for them, and there's billions. About $40 billion already being invested and being built right now in the United States, creating significant jobs
a
for
fab
Americans from all over the world.
President Biden,
Is that what
you
he's
have
talking
40
about?
seconds
I'm not.
left.
I
Would
have
you
no
like to add
idea what he's
anything?
talking
Yeah, I
about.
would.
Something about
The
Korea
idea
and
that
talking to them
somehow
about something.
Samsung
we
and
are,
then a fab.
this failing country.
I don't even know.
He's
I've
got to
heard a
retire.
president talk like this before. We're the envy of the world. Name me a single major country president who wouldn't trade places with the United States of America for all our problems and all our opportunities. We're the most progressive country in the world in getting things done. We're the strongest
like
country
what?
in the world. We're a country in the world who keeps our word, and everybody trusts us. All of our
What?
allies and our
Not one single country
those
trusts
who
us.
he coddles up to, from Kim Jong Un, he sends love letters to, and Putin, etc. They don't want to screw around with us.
Thank you. Former President Trump, to follow up, you would be 82 at the end of your second term. What do you say to voters who have concerns about your capabilities to serve?
Well, I took 2 tests, cognitive tests. I aced them, both of them. As you know, we made it public. He took none. I'd like to see him take one, just one.
I would
a real
too,
easy
honestly.
one. Like go through the first 5 questions. He couldn't do it.
He should have took a
But I
drug
took 2
test, too. I'd
cognitive
like to
tests.
see
I took physical exams every year. And, you know, we knock on wood wherever we may have wood. That I'm in very good health. I just won
He definitely
2
seems
club
like it at the
championships,
beginning,
not
like,
even
he just
senior.
came out
2
like,
regular club championships.
everything
To
was
do
so
that,
fast-paced.
you have to
He was
be
talking
quite
so
smart,
fast,
and
yeah.
you have to be able to hit the ball a long way. And I do it. He doesn't do it. He can't hit a ball 50
Thumb's got
yards. He
some
challenged
sweat
me to a
forming on
golf
his
match.
lip there.
He can't hit a ball 50 yards. I think I'm in very good shape. I feel that I'm as in good a shape as I was
Yeah.
25, 30 years ago. Actually,
Have you
I'm
ever
probably
taken,
a little bit
Have you
lighter,
ever taken like an Adderall?
but I'm in as
No, I
good a
haven't.
shape as
You
I
haven't?
was
Okay, when you're taking an
years ago.
Adderall,
I feel very good. I feel the same.
start-
But I was
like,
willing to take
when
a
your
cognitive
body
test.
is
And you
picking
know
up
what?
really
If I didn't
fast,
do well, I
you start
aced
talking
him.
really fast. You're like, oh, yeah.
Dr. Ronnie Jackson, who's
like,
a
you
great
don't
guy when he
realize
was
it,
White House doctor.
because
And then
everything's
I
like,
took
oh,
another
man.
one, a similar
You're
one.
just going and
And
going.
Just
both,
going.
one of them said they'd never seen anybody ace it.
Energizer Bunny.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're
President
just
Biden?
like,
You can
You're
see
just
he is
super
6'5"
amped up. That's
and
what he was
only
like.
223 pounds.
He
or
was.
235 pounds.
That's definitely slowed down.
Well, you
His
said
pace is slowed
6'4",
quite a bit.
200. Well, anyway, that's what you're. Anyway,
Oh, he tried to
just
cut
take
him
a
off.
look at what he says he is, and take a look at what he is.
It
Look,
threw him
I'd be
off,
happy
though.
to have a driving contest with him.
It-
The
his
reason I
mic
got
cut,
my
but it threw
handicap
Biden
was
off.
when I was vice president, down to a 6. But by the way,
He's getting in his
I
head.
told you before, I'm happy to play golf if you carry your own bag. Think you can do it?
You think you could do it?
He's a 6 handicap of all.
I was at 8 handicap.
Yeah.
8.
Are we really going to argue about golf?
But I had, you know how many?
I've seen you
Are we really going to argue about golf?
Let's not act like children.
President Trump, we're going to
21
Let's not act like children.
Yes,
Or
I agree.
specific
Let's not act like
concern
children. Are we really
that
going to
voters
argue
have
about golf?
you. Will you pledge tonight that once all legal challenges have
actually
been
smart.
exhausted, that you will accept the results of this election, regardless of who wins, and you will say right now that political violence in any form
Are you going to ask
is
Biden the same
unacceptable?
question?
Well, I shouldn't have to say that, but of course.
you gonna
I
ask
believe
Biden
that.
the same question?
It's totally unacceptable. And if you would see my statements that I made on Twitter at the time.
Because if you only
and
ask
also
Trump
my
that
statement
question,
I
that
made in
means
the
you
Rose
know
Garden, you would say
already
it's
that
one of the
Biden is going to
strongest
win
statements
because
you've
that's
ever
the whole
seen.
plan
In
all
addition
along.
to the speech I made.
We already know that already
in front
is.
of, I believe, the largest crowd I've ever spoken to, and I will tell you, nobody ever talks about that. They talk about a relatively small number of people that went to the Capitol and in many cases were ushered in by the police.
should ask
and as
Biden
Nancy
that.
Pelosi said,
Yeah.
it was her responsibility,
Because
not
look at when
mine.
Trump
She said
won.
that loud
They
and
couldn't
clear.
accept it.
But the answer is,
They
if
couldn't
the
accept
election
it.
They
is
couldn't.
fair, free,
The same
and
thing
I
that
want
happened
more
when,
than anybody.
let's say
And I'll tell you
hypothetically that
something.
Biden actually did win.
I wish he was a great president because I wouldn't be
and
here.
Trump
right
couldn't
now.
accept
I'd
it,
be
and now
at one of my many places.
the same
enjoying
thing.
myself. I wouldn't be
I mean,
under
clearly
indictment
that's
because
not
I
what
wouldn't have been
happened.
his
Biden
political
stole the
you know,
election.
opponent because he indicted
But the fact
me
that they're only, I
because
feel like
was his
they're only going to
opponent.
ask him. They're
I
not gonna
wish he
ask
was a great
that question.
president. I would rather have that. I wouldn't be here. I don't mind being
This
here.
one's a
The
lot
only reason
laggier.
I'm here is he's so bad as a president that I'm going to
Yeah,
make
the room's a
America
lot
great
laggier.
again. We're going to make
I'm a lot
America great
laggier.
again. We're a failing nation right now. We're a seriously failing nation.
lot laggier.
And we're a failing nation
Like, yeah,
because of him.
video,
His
bro.
policies are so bad. His military policies
That's actually
are
really good.
insane. They're insane. These are wars that will never end with
I know,
him.
look at him.
He will drive us
He's
into
fucking
World War
napping.
III, and we're closer to World War III than anybody can imagine. We are very, very
We know.
close to World War III, and
know, you
he's
don't have to
driving
tell
us there.
everybody.
And Kim Jong Un and
Let's get to the
President
real
Xi of
stuff.
China,
Let's talk
Kim
about
Jong Un of
guns.
North Korea,
Let's talk
all
about
of
that
these,
kind of
Putin.
stuff.
They don't respect him. They don't fear him. They have
'Cause you know they're
nothing
going to be
going with
talking
this
about
gentleman,
assault
and he's going to
weapons
drive us
bans
into
and
World War
da, da,
III.
da, da, da. Let's get to it.
You want a World War III.
No,
Let
nobody said
Putin
that.
Follow and win, and let Putin say, "Do what you want, NATO. Just do what you want." There's a thing called Article 5. An attack on one is attack on all, and required response. The
Look at that
idea,
motherfucker, dude.
the idea. I can't think of a single major leader in the world who wouldn't trade places with the job I've done and what they've done.
What?
Because we are a powerful nation. We have wonderful peace. Because of the people, not me. It's because of the American people. They're capable of anything, and they step up when they're needed. And right now, we're needed. We're needed to protect the world because of our own safety is at
Negative
stake.
Ghost Rider.
And again, you want to have
Not a
just
chance.
let Putin go ahead and take Kyiv, make sure they move on, see what happens in
That's
Poland,
none of our
Hungary,
business.
and other places along that border. Then you have a war.
Maybe don't build biolabs in
President
Ukraine.
Trump, as I come back to you
Or
for a
in Taiwan.
follow-up, the question was,
put
will you
Hunter Biden on
accept
the
the
board of
results
those
of this
biolabs?
election, regardless of who wins?
Maybe, just maybe though.
Just to finish,
Don't
what he
do
said,
that.
if
Yeah.
I'm right,
Oh, same with like the one
Russia.
in Wuhan.
they took
Right.
a lot of land from Bush.
I wonder who's on the board
They
of that
took
one.
a lot of land from Obama and Biden. They took no land, nothing from Trump, nothing. He knew not to do it. He's not going to play games
ask a
with me. He
question
knew
about
that.
China
I got
buying
along
up
with
all
him
the
very well,
farmland?
but he knew not to play games.
I have
he
the
took
same
nothing
question.
from me.
Anybody have an answer?
But now he's going to take
I
the
would like to
whole
know.
thing from
Why are
this
they buying
man
it
right
up
here.
all
Why are they buying
That's a war
farmland,
that should have
farmland
never
near military
started. It would have
bases?
never
No, the
started
nuclear
ever
facility.
with me. And he's going to take
Just
Ukraine.
asking.
And you know, you
Why
asked
don't
me a
the
question
American
before,
people
would you
get to
do
pick
this
the
with-
questions
He's
that
got
are
us in
asked of
such
these
a bad
people?
position.
Dude,
Right
We're the
now
ones that have to fucking vote
with
for
Ukraine
him.
and Russia.
Why don't we
Because
get to
Ukraine's not
ask the
winning that
question?
war. He said, "I will never settle."
They should
until
do it
such
like
time."
the
They're running out of
fucking
people. They're running out of soldiers. They've
Collins.
lost so many people. It's so
call
sad. They've
1-800.
lost so many people, and they've
Do
lost
that.
those
Do one of those. Get
gorgeous
fucking
cities
live
with the
people on there
golden
to ask
domes that are
questions.
1,000 years old, all because of
That'd
him
be
and
sweet,
stupid
but-
decisions.
Biden would fail so
Russia would have
hard.
never
It would
attacked.
go so bad.
I
President
would
Trump,
president.
the question
It
was,
would,
will you
and it would
accept
be
the
glorious.
results
I
of
wanna
the
see it
election,
happen.
regardless
They
of
should
who
do that
wins?
for the
Yes
final
or no,
debate.
please?
If it's a fair and legal and good election, absolutely. I would have much rather accepted these,
That was
but
probably
the,
the best
the
one, the
fraud
best
and
answer.
everything else was ridiculous.
If it was fair and
You want
legal,
one,
yeah,
have a
I'll
news
accept the
conference on it
result.
in a week, or we'll
that's
have another
normal.
But
one.
it never.
of these
It
on
isn't
in a week.
fair and legal.
But
that's how
I
he
will
said it the best.
absolutely.
Kind
There's
of.
nothing I'd rather do. It would be
Yeah,
much
if it's-
easier for me to
if it
do
was
that.
the
If it's fair and legal,
Then
I'd
I'm
accept it.
running again. I
But the
wasn't
last one
really
was not
going
fair
to
and legal,
run
so I don't
until I
accept
saw
it.
the horrible job he did.
Not that I wanted the
He's
orange
destroying
man
our
president
country.
either. I don't like
would be
either of
very
them.
happy to be someplace else in a nice location, someplace. And
I don't
again,
have anybody
no
in my mind that
indictments,
I would
no
want to have
political
president,
opponent
honestly.
stuff because it's the only way.
I
he
don't
thinks he can
want
win.
a president.
But
I want to
unfortunately,
govern
it's driven
myself.
Up my numbers
Well, that's
and
fair.
driven them up
I
to a
understand
very
that.
high level
I
because
like
the people
Trump just because
understand it.
My life was
We'll
better.
see what your numbers are
economy
when
was
this election
better.
is over.
A lot of
Life
things were
was
better.
You're a
easier.
whiner.
Now,
When
I'm
you
not
lost the
saying
first
that I want
time,
this
you continued. You
big-ass
appealed and
government
appealed
over
to
my
courts all
shoulders.
across
I
the
don't
country.
want that either.
Not one single
You know what I
court
mean?
in America
I don't even want to
said
fucking
any of your claims
register
had
my
any
car.
merit,
I don't wanna
state
register.
or local.
I don't want to register
None.
shit.
Well, you shouldn't
you
have to have a
continue
driver's
to
license.
provoke
You shouldn't have to have a
this lie
license
about somehow there's
go
all this
fish. You shouldn't have a license to
misrepresentation,
go-
all
you
this
shouldn't
stealing.
have-
There is no
These
evidence
are
of that at all.
basic
And I
principles
tell you what, I
of
doubt whether you'll
population
accept it
movement,
because you're such a whiner. The
population
idea if you
hunting,
lose again, you're
gathering.
accepting anything,
Those are
You
basic
can't stand the
principles
loss. Something
of
snapped in you when you lost the last
just
time.
life.
We'll be right back.
Yeah, and you
Those
have
are
to
ru-
you have
More
to buy a
the
license
CNN
for it.
presidential debate.
You shouldn't
And it's
have.
all about
From
money.
Georgia.
And then you get all the people that are like, oh, well, they have to fund conservation somehow. They fucking launder your money in other countries. What is your point? What fucking point are you trying to make here?
Well, that's the point too. Is like, do you know who is the best at conservation of, let's say, hunting deer? The best population that does conservation of hunting deer are the hunters that hunt the deer.
I feel like this just is the CNN debate, so we probably could just go back to that because it was more like the screen was more full.
No, I guess we have.
Is this like a break?
Yeah. Commercial break in progress. Resume momentarily. Yeah, but crash as soon as I get off. Oh, you're showing your browser history. Look at all that porn.
Hi, I'm Nicole Hockley from Sandy Hook Promise. I know this is hard to hear, but it's
Doesn't have any this decade that done any troops dying anywhere in the world like he did.
President Trump, I want to follow up if I can. You
Am I
want
allowed
to,
to respond to him?
well, I'm going to ask you a
I'm gonna
follow-up.
let
You
that
can do
do
whatever
its
you want
thing
with the
and
minute that
let's
we give
kinda
you.
just, like, see
I
what's
want to
going
follow
on
up. You
Twitter.
want to impose a 10% tariff on all goods coming into the U.S. How will you ensure that that doesn't drive prices even higher?
It's not going to drive them higher. It's just going to cost countries that have been ripping us off for years,
What is
like
this
China and many others, in all fairness to China.
that's the thing.
It's going
Hold
to
on.
just force them to pay us a lot of money, reduce
When
our
people talk
deficit
about that and they
tremendously,
talk about
and give
tariffs,
us a lot
like,
of power
it's
for
just
other
gonna drive
things.
the
But
product
he
price
made a
higher
statement. The
here.
only thing he was right
That's
about
not
is I gave
true.
you the largest tax cut in history. I also gave you the
It
largest
is-
regulation cut in history.
is
That's why
true.
we had all the jobs.
Because-
and the jobs went down, and then they bounced back, and he's taking credit for
It'll-
bounce back jobs. You can't do that.
It transfers,
He also
like,
said
the
he
way
inherited
the money
9% inflation.
moves.
No.
Gentlemen, thanks so much for
No
being
matter
here.
where
Let's
it goes,
begin the
it's going to
debate,
get
and let's
taxed
start with the issue that voters
Well, you're gonna pay
consistently
it no
say
matter what.
is their top
Yeah.
concern, the economy.
Essentially.
President Biden, inflation has
Overall, but it
slowed,
doesn't
but
increase
prices
like they
remain
say.
high. Since you took
Not by
office,
as
the
much.
price of
Yeah,
essentials
maybe.
has increased. For example, a basket of groceries that cost $100 then now costs more than $120. And typical home prices have jumped more than
Biden's just
30%.
gonna say this is all
What do you say to voters who feel they are worse off
What is
under
this?
your
What is this?
presidency than they
Just
were
what?
under President Trump?
We got to take a look at what I was left when I became president and what Mr. Trump left me. We had an economy that was in free fall. The pandemic
But
was
that-
so badly
that's like a-
handled.
that's a comment.
Many people were dying. All he said was, it's not that serious. Just inject a little bleach into your arm. You'll be all right. The economy collapsed. There were no
I think
jobs.
this is when our feet
Unemployment
cut.
rate
So
rose to
I
15%.
posted on my
It was
personal
terrible.
Twitter, and somebody
And so
said
what we
that
had to do
theirs
is try to
did
put
not
things
cut.
back together again. That's
I
exactly
think
what
this
we
might
began
have
to
been
do.
when it cut. When
We
ours
created
cut.
15,000 new jobs. We brought out in the position where
Wait, what,
we have
uh,
800,000 new
are we still
manufacturing
live?
jobs. But there's more to be done. There's more to be done.
Did ours
Working class people are
get all
still in
stupid
trouble.
because we-
I come from Scranton, Pennsylvania. I come of household.
They might have done the reset that might have cleaned it out.
It is now time for the candidates to
possible that
deliver
they're
their
running
closing
some sort of thing
statements
that,
as
that
predetermined
keeps
by a
streaming.
coin toss. We're going to begin with
I
you,
can't
President
tell. It does look
Biden.
like
You
we're
have 2
good,
minutes.
though. It does say, yes, it does say we're streaming.
We've made significant progress from the debacle that was left by President Trump in his last
I mean, the
term.
debacle of,
We find ourselves in a situation where, number one,
yeah, we're still
we
streaming.
have to make sure that we have a fair tax system. I ask anyone out there in the audience, or anyone out watching this
Probably all
debate,
the whiskey
do
I
you
know.
think the tax system is fair? The fact is that I said nobody even making under $400,000 had a single penny increase in their taxes, and will not. And if I'm reelected, that'll be the case again. But this guy
No,
has
there's no but. You
increased your
said there was
taxes
not gonna be
because of
any
the
new
deficit.
taxes.
Number one, he's increased inflation because of the debacle he left after the way he handled the pandemic. And he finds
is
himself in a
partially
position
true.
where he now wants to tax you more by putting a 10% tariff on everything that comes into the United States of America. What I did, when, for example, he wants to get rid of the ability of Medicare for the ability
What
to,
Trump
for the
wants to do is
us
go
to be
back
able to
to how
negotiate
the
drug
government
prices
was
with the big
originally
pharma
funded
companies.
by tariffs.
Well, guess what? We got to
He's openly.
We got it
stated
down to
that.
15,
Right.
excuse me,
That way people
$35
don't have
for
to pay
insulin instead of
taxes.
$400. No more than
what he wants.
I don't wanna
$2,000
pay taxes
for
anymore.
every senior, no matter what they, how
And I'm
much
sorry,
prescription they
but
need. You know what that
if the
did?
products
That
come from
reduced
other
the federal
countries more
debt
expensive
by
because of
$160 billion
than
over
products
10
that are
years
made in
because the
the
government doesn't
United
have to pay the exorbitant prices.
Guess what? You're gonna
I'm going to
buy a
make that
product from the
available to
United States.
every
It's also
senior.
expensive.
All along it's happening now, and
not gonna
everybody in
benefit
America. He wants to get rid of that.
That's the
We
point.
have, I'm going to make sure that we have child care. We're going to significantly increase the
have way more
credits
money
people
to do
have
it
for child care.
because
We're
you
going to
want
make
to pay
sure we
taxes.
do something about what we're doing on
How the government was
lead
run
pipes and
for
all the things that are causing health problems for
Up
people
until
across the country.
1913.
We're going to continue to fight to bring down inflation and give people a break.
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump, you now have 2 minutes for your closing statement.
Like so many politicians, this man is just a complainer. He said, we
You know
want to
what?
do this, we want to do that, we want to get rid of this tax, that tax. But he doesn't do anything. He doesn't do,
Do
all
not
he
save
does
this
is make our
picture of
country
Joe
unsafe
Biden
by
to your
allowing
phone.
millions and
Do
millions
not
of people to
Google
pour in.
drugs that
Our
cause
military
rapid
doesn't
weight
respect him.
gain.
We look like fools in Afghanistan. We didn't stop
I mean, it looks
Israel.
weird,
It was
but
such a horrible thing that would
it
have
really
never
just
happened.
could
It
be
should
the
have
way
never
the suit
happened.
kind of
Iran
just
was
following.
broke. Anybody that
know.
did
It
business
just
with
does.
Iran, including China, they couldn't do business with the United States. They all passed.
But I don't
Iran
really
was
see it
broke.
here,
They had
though.
no money for Hamas or Hezbollah, for terror, no money whatsoever. Again, Ukraine should have never happened. He talks about all this stuff, but he didn't do it. For 3.5 years, we're living in hell. We have the Palestinians and we have everybody else rioting all over the place. You talk about Charlottesville. This is 100 times
I don't know
Charlottesville,
about that
1,000
one. It
times.
was funny,
The
but
whole
I don't-
country is
no, I don't
exploding
think
because
so.
of you, because they
This-
don't respect
this guy
you,
generally
and they have
just
to
posts
respect their
bullshit, though, if
president,
I'm honest.
and they don't respect you throughout the world. What we did was incredible. We rebuilt the military. We got the largest tax cut in history, the largest regulation cut in history. The reason he's got jobs is because I cut the regulations that gave jobs, but he's putting a lot of those regulations back on. All of the things that we've done, nobody's never seen anything like. Even from a medical standpoint, right to try, where we can try space-age materials instead of going to Asia or going to Europe and trying to get when you're terminally ill. Now you can go and you can get something. You sign a document. They've been trying to get it for 42 years. But you know what we did for the military was incredible. Choice for our soldiers, where our soldiers, instead of waiting for 3 months to see a doctor, can go out and get themselves fixed up and readied up and take care
Wait,
of themselves.
did we miss
And they're
this?
living. And that's why I had the highest approval rating in the history of the VA. So all of these things, we're in a failing nation, but it's not going to be failing anymore. We're going to make it great again.
Thank you, former President Trump, President Biden. Stay with us because we have full analysis of this debate. Anderson Cooper and Aaron Burnett starts now on CNN.
Oh, is it over? Why did they end it like that?
That was it?
Table if the things weren't able to be met during the month, it was a problem. Price of eggs, the price of gas, the price of housing, the price of a whole range of things. That's why I'm working so hard to make sure I deal with those problems. And we're going to make sure that we reduce the price of housing. We're going to make sure we build 2 million new units. We're going to make sure we cap rents so corporate greed can't take over. The combination, what I was left with in corporate greed is the reason why we're in this problem right now. In addition to that, we're in a situation where if you take a look at all that was done in his administration,
What happened?
he didn't do
Nothing.
much at
It
all.
got worse.
By the time he left,
Food got
things
more
were in
expensive.
chaos.
Housing got more
Literally
expensive.
chaos. And so we put things back together. We
Restaurants are
created, and I said,
collapsing.
those
Restaurants
jobs,
are
we make sure
collapsing.
we had a situation where we brought down the price
Anybody
of
that
prescription
buys
drugs,
this,
which is a major issue
anybody
for
that
many people,
votes for this,
to $15 for a insulin shot
know you don't
as
like
opposed to $400.
My life was
No senior has to pay more than $200
Yeah, but I don't think it's
for
gonna
any
be
drug,
better
all
if
the
he
drugs
makes
they can include beginning
Maybe not.
next year.
They're
And the
just gonna
situation is and we're going to make that available to everybody,
maybe
to
not,
all
but I have
Americans.
to have-
So we're working to bring down the price around the kitchen
Have to
table,
at least
and that's
try.
what we're going to get done.
Thank
It
you,
has
President
to,
Trump.
because, like, what else?
We have the
you know, what else
greatest
are we-
economy in the history of our country. We have never done so well.
We had an economy that was in free fall. The pandemic was so badly handled. Many people were dying. All he said was, it's not that serious. Just inject a little bleach into your arm. You'll be all right. The economy collapsed. There were no jobs. Unemployment rate rose to 15%. It was terrible. And so what we had to do is try to put things back together again.
Oh, that's right.
That's
I had to
exactly
turn it
what
up
we
for
began
the
to do.
other.
We created 15,000
So,
new
like-
jobs. We brought out the position where we have 800,000 new
with
manufacturing jobs, but there's
have
more
to
to be
ha-
done. There's more to be done.
Everyone has to
Working
at
class
least
people are
try.
still in trouble. I come from Scranton,
'Cause life is
Pennsylvania. I
better
come of
then.
household where the kitchen
economy
table
was better.
things
I
weren't
get
able to be met
people
during the month. It was a problem. Price of
their
eggs, the
question.
price of gas,
I
the price
didn't
of
agree
housing,
with
the price of a whole range of things.
a lot of stuff
That's
that
why
he
I'm
did,
working so
but
hard to make
I
sure
agree with
I deal with those problems.
his
And we're going to
policies
make
to
sure
help
that we
out
reduce the price of housing.
the general
We're going to
life
make
of
sure we
people.
build 2 million new units.
As far
We're
as
going to
I
make
mean,
sure
I
we
get
cap
it.
rents so
More
corporate greed can't take
money to
over.
buy
The
things,
combination
and I
of
understood
what is left with
where
the
he
corporate
wanted
greed
to
is the
go,
reason why
but
we're
he
in
was
this
being
problem right
taught.
now. In addition to
Constantly,
that,
tooth and
we're in a
nail.
situation where if you take a
'Cause
look at
just
all that was
like,
done
just-
in his
Just the
administration,
simple fact that he wants to go
didn't do
back
much
to
at all.
relying on tariffs.
By the time
to
he
fund the
left,
government,
things were in
and then
chaos.
everyone keeps their
Literally chaos.
taxes in their
And
check.
so we put things back together. We created, I said, those jobs. We
openly
make
said
sure
that
we
that's
had
what
a
he wanted to do.
situation where we now
You know what I
we
mean?
brought
Yeah,
down the
yeah.
price of prescription drugs,
like,
which is a
just that
major
simple
issue for
fact.
many people, to $15
That one thing would boost our
for
economy
a insulin
drastically.
shot as opposed
That's
to
true.
$400. No senior has to pay more than $200 for any drug, all the drugs they can include beginning next year. And the situation is and we're going to make that available to everybody, to all Americans.
I'm so
So
confused.
we're
Is it
working to bring
over?
down
I'm
the price
confused.
around the
It's
kitchen
got to be
table.
getting close
And that's
because
what
we've
we're
been
gonna get
streaming
done.
for an hour
Thank
and
you, President
44
Trump.
minutes.
We had the greatest economy in the history
And they're
of our
going for
country.
90, which is an hour
Oh,
and a
this
half.
is their closing
Have never
argument.
done so
Okay.
well. Everybody was amazed by it. Other countries were copying us. We got hit with COVID, and when we did,
And see, that's another thing too. Is like technically he only had 2 years
rocking
because
good.
of COVID.
But the thing we never got the credit for, and
Or
we
like
should
3
have,
years.
is getting us out of that COVID
Oh,
mess.
You know what I
He
mean?
created mandates
Right.
that was a disaster for our country. But other than that, we had
3
given
years they
them back
created a pandemic and
a
destroyed
country
everything
where
that
the
was
stock
built.
market actually was higher than
All to
pre-COVID,
destroy him.
and nobody thought that
All to
was even
destroy him.
possible. The only jobs he created are for illegal immigrants and
And
bounce
their
back
families.
jobs, a bounce back from the COVID.
I honestly think if
he has
everyone-
not done
I-
a
I
good
think if
job. He's done a
everyone-
poor job, and
Now,
inflation's
I
killing
don't
our
agree with
country. It
power
is absolutely
centralized
killing
into one
us.
person's hands.
Thank you, President Biden.
However, I think if people
Well, look,
were
the greatest
to
economy in the world.
kinda-
He's the only
Here
one
he
who
goes
thinks
with
that,
the
I think.
economy
I don't know
again.
anybody else who thinks he had the greatest economy in the world. And, you know,
Neither of
the
them
fact
did.
of the
Let's
matter
be
is
clear
that
on that. Neither of them
we
had the
found
greatest
ourselves in
economy.
a situation where his economy, he rewarded the wealthy. He had the
Yeah,
largest
his
tax
was
cut in
better,
American
but it
history,
w-
$2 trillion.
When
raised
he
the
says
deficit
greatest
larger than any president
economy in
has
the
in
world,
any
neither
one
of them
term.
had the
He's
best
the only
economy
president
ever.
other than Herbert Hoover
No.
who's lost
It was
more
getting-
jobs
it was-
than he had when he began, since
Yeah,
Herbert Hoover.
And then,
The idea that he did something that was significant, and the military,
and then it
Yeah.
plummeted.
you know,
I mean, really, what
when he was
caused most
president,
of
they
it
were
was
still killing
the
people in
stimulus
Afghanistan.
checks
He
and
didn't do anything
printing
about
money
that.
and
When he was president, we were still
giving
found
money
ourselves
to
in a position
Ukraine,
where
and all of that
you
was-
had
was
a notion
feeding
that
into,
we were this safe
was
country.
feeding into
The truth is,
inflation.
I'm the only president
100%.
this century that doesn't have this decade, that doesn't have any troops dying anywhere in the world like he did.
President Trump, I want to follow up if I can. You
Am I
want
allowed to respond to him?
Well, I'm going to ask you a follow-up. You can do whatever you want with the minute that we give you.
No,
I want to follow
no.
up. You want to
Wait a
impose a
minute. Is he allowed to
10%
follow
tariff
up
on all
on that?
goods coming into the U.S.
That's
He was
the actual
following
question.
up
How
this
will
whole
you
time.
ensure that that doesn't drive prices
That's how it
up
was
higher?
going. Is
Not
they
going
were
to drive
following
them
up the
higher.
whole
It's just
time.
going to cause countries that have
This
been
time he
ripping us
wasn't
off for
allowed
years,
to
like
follow up.
China and many others, in all fairness to China. It's going to just force them to pay us a lot of money, reduce our deficit tremendously, and give us a lot of power for other things. But he made a statement.
Exactly.
The only thing he was right about is I gave you the largest tax cut in history. I also gave you the largest regulation cut in history. That's why we had all the jobs. And the jobs went down, and then they bounced back, and he's taking credit for bounce back jobs. You can't do that. He also said he inherited 9%
Right.
inflation.
I agree with
No,
that.
He inherited almost no inflation, and it stayed that way for 14
Yeah,
months.
Biden
and
was
then
like,
it
"Oh,
blew up under his
we got all
leadership
these new
because they
jobs."
spent money like
No, that's
a
just
bunch
people
of
going back
that
to work
didn't know
from
what they were
from
doing, and they don't know
COVID.
what they were doing. It was the worst, probably the worst administration in history. There's never been. And as far as Afghanistan is
agree with that,
concerned,
too.
I was getting out of Afghanistan, but we were
administration
getting
is
out
probably the
with
worst
dignity,
administration
with strength,
Definitely.
with power.
I agree with that.
He got out. It was the most embarrassing day in the history of our country's life.
President Trump, over the last 8 years, under both of your administrations, the national debt soared to record highs. And according to a new nonpartisan bipartisan analysis, President Trump, your administration approved $8.4 trillion in new debt, while so far, President Biden, you've approved $4.3 trillion in new debt. So, former President Trump, many of the tax cuts that you signed into law are set to expire next year. You want to extend them and go even further, you say. With the U.S. facing trillion-dollar deficits and record debt, why should top earners and corporations pay even less in taxes than they do now?
Because the tax cuts spurred the greatest economy that we've ever seen just prior to COVID. And even after COVID, it was so strong that we were able to get through COVID much better than just about any other country. But we spurred, that tax spurred. Now, when we cut the taxes, as an example, the corporate tax was cut down to 21% from 39%, plus beyond that. We took in more
Corporations should
revenue
pay a
with
higher
much less tax, and companies were
think they
bringing
should?
back
They should
trillions
pay
of
higher
dollars
than-
back
than
into our country.
the
The country was going like never
It's hard
before.
because if you make
And we
them
were
pay
ready to
higher
start
taxes,
paying
then
down
they
debt.
just
We're
leave.
ready to start using the liquid gold right
That
under our
is
feet.
that does make it
The oil
hard.
and gas
but
right under our feet.
if they're
we were
forcing
going
us
to
to
have
pay
something
taxes
that
to
nobody
fund
else has
everything
had.
else,
We got hit with
the
COVID.
largest-
we did a
the
lot
people
to
with the
fix it. I
largest
gave
money
him an
should pay for it.
unbelievable situation
No, I
with
agree.
all of the
Or should pay a
therapeutics
larger
and all of the
portion.
things
If-
that we came
if that's
up with.
the case, if
we
it's at a
gave
po-
him
like
something
where
great.
everybody
Remember,
needs to pay
more
a
people
portion,
died under his
those who have more
administration,
money should pay
even
more
though
than
we
those
had
that don't.
largely fixed it.
By-
More people
by a
died under
larger
his
margin.
administration
I agree, but that's-
than
this
our
is the
administration, and
problem
we
with
were right
taxes.
in the middle of it. Something
I don't.
which a
Yeah,
lot
I
of
just
people
don't
like
agree
to
with
talk
taxes.
about.
They shouldn't.
But he had
There-
far more
there should
people
be
dying
zero
in
taxes.
Because-
his
and that's where
administration.
this- it
He
gets
did
to
the
this
mandate,
point.
which is a disaster, mandating
Because
it.
of
When the
taxes,
vaccine went out, he did a
people start
mandate
to
on the
build and
vaccine,
build
which
and
is the
build and
thing
build
that
till they get
people
those giant
most
locations,
objected
and
to
then
about the
all of a
vaccine.
sudden, these
And he
people
did a
down
very
here are
poor
paying a
job, just
fuckload
a
of
very
money for
poor job.
taxes.
And I
And
will
they're like,
tell
"Wait a
you,
minute, when
not
all
only
these
poor
people with a
there,
shitload
but
of
throughout
money,
the
why
entire
can't they
world, we're no
fucking
longer
put in
respected
it
as a
for it?
country.
Now we're at
They
this
don't
point
respect
where
our
you
leadership.
got all these
They
people
don't
who are going,
respect the
"Oh,
United States
billionaires
anymore.
need to pay
We're
their
like
fair
a
share."
third world nation
Yes, we
between
know. What is
weaponization
your
of
fucking
his
point?
election,
It's
trying to
never
go
gonna
after his
happen. We
political
shouldn't- any
opponent.
of us shouldn't be
All of
paying
the things
taxes.
he's done, we've
100%.
become like a third
And then we
world
just
nation.
go round and
and it's
round
a
and
shame.
round and round.
The
and
damage he's
Yes,
done
if
to
you
our
make- if you
country,
make
and I'd
corporations
love
and
to
stuff like
ask
that
him,
pay a
and
high
will,
tax,
why he allowed millions
go
of
to a
people to
different
come in
country.
here
Right.
from
Right.
prisons, jails, and mental
If you make them pay less
institutions
tax
to come into our
or no
country
tax,
and destroy
they
our
come here.
country.
That
President
creates
Trump, we
more
will
jobs
get to
for
immigration later in this block.
Which
President
creates even
Biden,
more
I
tax
want to give you an
revenue.
opportunity to respond to
Because
this
it's more
question
work.
about the national debt.
He had the
That's
largest
also
national
true.
debt of
That
any
it
president in a 4-year
decreases
period, number
the
one.
employment number,
Number two,
or unemployment
he,
number,
that $2
and
trillion tax
increases
cut
more people within
benefited
the
the very
workforce,
wealthy.
generates more
What
tax
I'm going to do
revenue.
is fix the tax system. For
But
example,
at the same time,
we have
people shouldn't
1,000
have to
trillionaires
pay
in
tax.
America. I mean, billionaires in
Yeah.
America. And what's happening?
Especially
They're in a
in the-
Because if
situation
you,
where
corporations
they, in
didn't
fact,
have to pay taxes, and the people
82%
didn't have to pay
taxes.
taxes.
If they
The
just paid
government was run off of
24%,
tariffs that were
25%, either
on
one of those
products that
numbers,
were sold here or
they'd raise
sold there or
$500
whatever.
million, billion
If
dollars.
that's how
I
the
should
government
say,
was run,
in a
which is how
10-year
it used to be
period.
run,
We'd be able to wipe out
you
his
know,
debt. We'd be
then
able to help
corporations would
make
move
sure
here,
that all those
build
things we
here,
need to do, child care,
hire
elder
here.
care, making sure that we continue
People
to
would make their money there.
strengthen our healthcare system, making
And
sure
then
that
have
we're
to pay
able to make
taxes.
every
Like-
single solitary
Right.
person
Pretty simple
eligible for what I've been able to do with
pretty fucking
the
common.
with the COVID.
Honestly.
It wouldn't work
dealing
though,
with
in practicality,
everything we have
in
to
my,
do with,
in my honest opinion.
Look,
Just
if
simply because of
we
all the
finally
people
beat
who are locked
Medicare.
into their current
Thank you, President Biden.
way
President
of
Trump?
life. If they were just
Well, he's
gonna be
right. He
like, "All right,
did
this is
beat
the way we're gonna
Medicare.
do
He
it
beat
now."
it to death, and he's
People would
destroying
fight it,
Medicare.
you know.
Because
because
all of
it's
these
just-
people are
and
coming
that's
in.
what
They're
they
putting
know,
them on
what
Medicare.
they've
They're
always
putting them on
known.
Social. They're going
The
to
crazy thing is
Social
it
Security.
works.
This man is going to
It's just people
single-handedly destroy Social
Like, if
Security.
people
These
just w-
millions
if
and
they're
millions
like,
of people
"Okay,
coming
yeah,
in,
let's just
they're
try
trying
this
to put
way,"
them on Social Security.
would work.
He will wipe out
If people were
Social
willing to
Security.
actually
He
just
will wipe
in the
out
same-
Medicare.
in the same
So he
breath,
was right in
that's
the way
what-
he finished that
that's what
sentence, and it's
communists
a
do.
shame. What's
Oh, if we
happened
just
to our
try it, it'll
country
work.
I know.
in the last 4
know.
years is not to be believed.
But it's not
Foreign
communism.
countries, I'm friends with a lot of people.
It's free
They
market
cannot
capital.
believe what happened to the United States of
That's
America.
true, it
We're
is.
no
It
longer
opens up
respected.
free market.
They don't like us.
The problem
we give
is
them
you have
everything they want, and
corporations
they think we're
that
stupid.
don't
They
give a
think we're
crap
very
about the
stupid people.
taxes.
What we're doing for other countries,
they pay
and they do
lobbyists
nothing for us. What this
to
man
lobby the
has done
government to
is
increase
absolutely
certain
criminal.
taxes and all that.
Thank you,
bullshit
President Trump. Dana?
on
This
their-
is the first presidential
style
election
products or whatever
since
they're
the Supreme
making
Court
for the
overturned
mom
Roe
and
v.
pops
Wade.
that are making those
This
products.
morning, the court ruled on yet another
survive.
abortion case, temporarily
can't
allowing
afford to
emergency abortions to continue in Idaho,
Pay those
despite
taxes
that
or
state's
pay those-
restrictive
the
ban.
fees or whatever,
Former
blah,
President
blah, blah.
Trump,
Are
you
we
take
circling
credit
back
for the
to
decision to
abortion
overturn
again?
Roe v. Wade, which returned the issue of abortion to the states.
Correct.
However, the federal
No, this
government
started
still
over.
plays a role in whether or not
Did it
women
really?
have access to abortion pills. They're used
think you're
in
right.
about 2/3 of
Hold up.
That makes sense because it was like instantly done.
Oh yeah, look. Hold on. Hold on. Let's go to the end and see.
Yeah, I don't even know where it ended.
That doesn't make sense though, because it showed like the.
As their
Go out and get themselves fixed up and readied up and take care of themselves, and they're living. And that's why I had the highest approval rating in the history of the
All right,
VA. So all of these things, we're in a failing nation, but it's not going to be failing
Let's see
anymore.
what
We're going to
the
make it
very
great
ending
again.
Thank you, former President Trump, President Biden. Stay with us because we have full analysis of this debate. Anderson Cooper and Aaron Burnett starts now on CNN.
We got the largest.
Okay, so
We do
they
something
gave him
about
the last.
what we're doing on lead pipes and all the things that are causing health problems for people across the country.
Okay, hold on.
We're going to
I
continue.
want to see
fight
both
to
of their
bring down
closing remarks
inflation.
again. Then this was the break, right?
Oh,
This was the break from when we left Twitter.
Oh yeah,
Am I right on that,
I
or
think so.
I think it is? Because we switched over to YouTube and it was like it played and then it was over.
That was weird.
It is now time for the candidates to deliver their closing statements.
Okay,
as
here we go.
Predetermined by
My
a
fault.
coin toss. We're going to begin with you, President Biden. You have 2 minutes.
What happened? We weren't paying attention.
If
We've made
we were
significant
fucking-
progress from the debacle that was left by President Trump in his last term.
Okay,
We
we
find
did
ourselves in a
provide
situation where,
commentary over
number
this,
one,
but I don't think we
We have
realized
to
that
make
it
sure
was
that we have
the
a fair
end.
tax system. I ask anyone out there in the audience, or anyone out watching this
What
debate,
audience?
do you think the tax system is fair? The fact is that I said nobody even making under $400,000 had a single penny increase in their taxes. In the
That was a
world.
lie.
And
That
if
was
I'm
a
reelected,
lie.
That'll be the case again.
It still
But
is a lie.
This guy has increased your taxes because of the deficit.
Everyone
Number
increases
one.
our
He's
taxes.
increased inflation because of the debacle he left after the way he handled the pandemic. And he finds himself in a position where he now wants to tax you more by putting a 10% tariff on everything that comes into the United States.
You want to
of America.
tax us more.
What I did when, for example, he wants to get away with, get rid of
You know
the
what?
ability of Medicare.
Dude, he just blamed inflation on President
They
for-
said,
Trump.
yeah,
the ability
I
for
read
the-
somewhere that they were
us
going
be
to
able
do that.
negotiate drug prices with
It's
the
such
big pharma
bullshit.
companies.
Mhm.
Well, guess what? We got it down to $35 for
You
insulin
struggled
instead of
on that.
$400. No more than
Do you know what?
$2,000.
Do you know what the
for every
primary cause of
senior,
inflation in
no
this
matter
country
what
was?
how much prescription
The
they need.
fact that
You know
gas
what that
price is
did?
almost
That
fucking
reduced
$4.
The federal debt by
That's why.
$160 billion
And all the money that
over
they're
10
sending
years,
overseas.
because the government doesn't have to pay the exorbitant prices. I'm going to make that available to every senior all along. It's happening now, and everybody in America. He wants to get rid of that. I'm going to make sure that we have child care. We're going to significantly increase the credits that people have for child care. I'm going to make sure we do something about what we're doing on lead pipes and all the things that are causing health problems for people across the country. We're
I
going
don't
to
believe that
continue
you're
to fight
actually
to
gonna
bring
do
down
anything.
inflation and give people a break.
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump, you now have 2 minutes for your closing statement.
Prezi actually called him.
Like so many
President Trump.
politicians, this man is just a complainer. He said, we want to do this, we want to do that, we want to get rid of this tax, that tax. But he doesn't do anything. He doesn't do, all he
Neither do
does
you.
is make our country unsafe by allowing
Neither
millions
does
and
anybody.
millions
Nobody
of people
ever
to
does
pour in.
anything. They never do
Our
anything they say
military
they're
doesn't
gonna do.
respect him. We look like fools in Afghanistan. We didn't stop Israel. It was such a horrible thing that would have never happened. It should have never happened. Iran was broke.
I'm surprised they
Anybody that
didn't
did
touch on
business with
guns.
Iran, including China.
How did they
couldn't
not
do
do
business
that?
with the United States?
Yeah,
They
that's
all passed.
interesting.
Iran was broke. They had no money for Hamas or
There's not one
Hezbollah for
gun
terror.
question
No
there.
money whatsoever. Again, Ukraine should
Or
have never
gun
happened.
violence. I'm
He talks
surprised they
about
didn't
all
touch
this
on
stuff, but
any
he
of
didn't
that.
do it. For 3.5 years, we're living in hell. We have the Palestinians and we have everybody else rioting
Especially
all
being
over the
hosted by
place.
CNN.
You talk about Charlottesville. This is 100 times Charlottesville, 1,000 times. The whole country is exploding because of you. because they don't respect you, and they have to respect their president, and they don't respect you throughout the world.
I don't have to respect
What
nobody.
we did was incredible. We rebuilt the military. We got the largest tax cut in history, the largest regulation cut in history. The reason he's got jobs is because I cut the regulations that gave jobs, but he's putting a lot of those regulations back on. All of the things that we've done, nobody's never seen anything like. Even from a medical standpoint, right to try, where we can try space-age materials instead of going to Asia or going to Europe and trying to get when you're terminally ill. Now you can go and you can get something. You sign a document. They've been trying to get it for 42 years. But you know what we did for the military was incredible. Choice for our soldiers, where our soldiers, instead of waiting for 3 months to see a doctor, can go out and get themselves fixed up and readied up and take care of themselves, and they're living. And that's why I had the highest approval rating in the history of the VA.
Yeah.
So all of these things, we're in a failing nation, but it's not going to be failing anymore. We're going to make it great again.
Thank you, former President
I
Trump.
doubt it.
President
This is
Biden,
kind of a pattern of behavior.
stay with us because
Right.
we have
Election
full
year, there's always a
analysis
fucking-
of this
It
debate.
is.
Anderson
Yeah.
Cooper and
They're
Aaron
already
Burnett
they're trying to
starts
push one for this
now
one.
on CNN.
It's not going through because it's not working.
Because people are like, nah, we did that. I went on
Yeah.
not,
yeah,
oh, there was the ending.
Instead of waiting for 3 months to see a doctor, can go out and get themselves fixed up and readied up and take care of themselves, and they're living. And that's why I had the highest approval rating in the history of the VA. So all of these things, we're in a failing nation,
that was just
but
it
it's
then?
not
They
going to
just,
be
like, cut it
failing
right
anymore.
there.
We're going to make it
Yeah,
great
just cut it
again.
right there.
Thank you, former President
Thank
Trump.
you.
Why did it start
President
over
Biden,
though? That fucking threw
Stay
me.
with
for a
us
loop. We watched it
because
for like
we have
20
full
minutes.
analysis of this debate.
I don't know.
Anderson Cooper and Aaron Burnett starts now on CNN.
I'm tired.
Look at Biden.
Dude,
They're just standing there in silence.
what if
That room is dead silent right now. That's the weirdest part about that whole thing.
yeah,
That room was just sitting there dead silent. That is just awkward and weird. There's no
Crazy.
audience. There's. Let's refresh this. Let's touch real quick, see what people have to say, and then we'll call it.
I don't think there's gonna be very much.
There probably won't be a lot.
Was that according to
According
CNN?
to-
Democrats are panicking after.
Tonight's presidential debate between Trump and Joe Biden,
I could see that.
expressing deep concern about what they just witnessed. Yeah, I agree. I mean, Biden struggled quite a bit. It pretty much, honestly, it went essentially the way I thought it was going to be. I kind of thought it was going to be worse. I thought Biden was. I feel like he was going to fall off a little bit harder than he did, but it wasn't.
Yeah, I'm surprised. They must have drugged him up pretty good.
Yeah, that and him, all the prep that they did. I guess he had like 12 or 16 like advisors, and I saw somebody was saying like they did like a dig in all the presidents prior, where there's debates like there are now, hasn't had more than like 4 advisors.
Yeah. The other thing is I mean, I was hoping Trump would be. Trump did actually pretty good.
Yeah, he tried to. You could definitely tell he tried to not get all heated and
Not
stuff.
calling it. This guy's just Sleepy Joe.
You could also tell that Biden tried pretty hard to keep his composure too. There was a few times where he
Yeah.
looked like but he did actually try to interrupt.
Well, that one
So
time
did
he
so did
snapped.
Trump. Yeah,
He snapped too.
they both tried to interrupt at least once that I know of.
Yeah. Interrupting's understandable. It's a debate.
It happens. I get it.
When Biden snapped about his son. That
Oh yeah, that definitely wasn't a good look.
That's
Like
where you're
just
like,
multiple are gonna be like, who won? I don't care who won. Honestly, from my perspective, it was the. Okay, let me preface this by saying that this debate was definitely heavily leaned into the in the favor of Joe Biden. Clearly, with like the way
Yeah,
everything was set
the
up, no
questions and all that
no
stuff.
audience, the questions, the podiums were rigged with like the auto cutting microphones, and There's a lot of layers here, but it was definitely like stacked in Biden's favor. But even with that, it was a pretty even. I feel like it was pretty even, honestly, with all that being the way it is. If it was a normal debate with a crowd, with with regular questions, it would have definitely, honestly, it would have 100,000% went. If they hadn't sequestered Biden for a week to get him prepared, he would have crumbled so bad. I
But
couldn't
see,
even.
I'm gonna say that this is actually this debate is see what they thought is putting this debate on CNN would actually hurt Trump. But like I was telling you earlier,
Well,
think
it doesn't
this-
matter because
I think this stuff is gonna backfire.
I think the fact that they only aired it on CNN is also going to hurt them because it forces even Republicans to watch it on CNN.
Right.
So I mean, they're not only reaching their targeted audience; they're reaching everybody. So it doesn't matter.
It helps CNN.
It helps CNN because
Boosts
it
their
boosts
ratings.
their ratings because they're the only people streaming it.
Right. But at the same time,
But then at the same time, you have people on YouTube like we did, and people who are like, I'm not gonna fucking I'm not gonna give CNN my attention.
Nope.
I'll just watch it through someone else's
just
stream.
watched on YouTube.
Yeah, I'll watch it on Steven Crowder or something, or I'll go over to Rumble and watch it there.
Yeah, I'll probably watch the Steven Crowder one tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what they have to say. I don't.
Because they love just ragging on both sides. So
Oh, excuse me.
Steven Crowder actually said something about that because, like, he's even asked to interview Trump, and Trump won't interview with Steven Crowder because Steven Crowder even makes fun of Trump.
Well, I mean,
Which
I feel like it would honestly
whatever.
it would benefit Trump if he did it.
Yeah.
Even if you did interview with somebody who makes fun of you, it's still beneficial to you.
It is beneficial, but that doesn't. I mean, to me, it's like okay, you could do a Trump impression and make fun of him. It doesn't really bother me.
Right.
You know, if somebody made an impression of me and did it in front of me, and that should just make me laugh. I don't, you know what I mean?
Right.
Good trying. Good. What was I gonna say? Good. It'd be hard to impersonate me.
Why'd they use this old ass picture? They could have used any snapshot from that debate where he's making a face similar to that. But they used this one from like fucking 2020. Democrats.
Bro, I'm
concerned.
just.
I mean, yeah, maybe. I guess we'll see. I don't know if they're really that concerned because, like, if they're gonna steal it, they're gonna steal it. So why are they concerned?
I think they're concerned because they're not gonna do it.
How wouldn't they? I mean, they did it the way they did it last time.
Because they still had a base.
I guess that's true. They had people supporting
They
them,
still
and they
had a
still do.
base.
But I feel like most of them are fake, though. Anyway.
Yeah. But
Fuck.
I mean, you could still see signs posted out. You don't really see Biden signs anymore.
I haven't seen any yet, but I haven't really seen any new Trump ones either. I see a lot of like people flying the flags, but they've just been there for forever. So I mean,
Yeah, if you see an American flag, they just
or just the Trump
Trump
flag. Like there's
support.
people that have Trump flags up since 2016. It's been the same. So I haven't seen any new like yard markers or anything like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Is there a cutoff for that? Like, can you only put yard signs out at a certain time, or can you only have them out for, I don't know, from August to
I don't know.
November or whatever?
That's a good question. I don't know if there's any city ordinances,
Yeah,
but
I'm not sure either.
at that point, I'd be like, "Fuck your ordinance." I have my constitutional right of freedom of speech. and
Motherfucker. Right.
This is a form of speech. So
Exactly.
Doesn't really matter. city ordinance doesn't trump my constitutional right.
There isn't really much that does.
They fucking certainly think
They
there
don't.
is.
Yeah, they don't act that way. But there isn't really much that does trump your constitutional rights.
That's like, did you ever hear the story about Trump's flag? I forget where it's at. I think it's at Mar-a-Lago. Mar-a-Lago. This is the American flag that he has up.
No, I haven't heard anything about it.
You've never heard about that story?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay, so I forget how tall the flagpole was, but it was tall enough to where he kept getting fines for it because it was too tall.
Okay,
Okay?
that's stupid.
he
I should
said,
be able
"I'm
to have
not-"
as tall as one as I want.
He said, I'm not changing it.
I wouldn't either.
So what he did is he didn't change the pole. He on the pole, he just filled the bottom with dirt and made a mound.
Oh, can't stop yawning now.
He just made a mound of dirt around the pole. So from what it looks like is the pole is shorter from the ground.
Yeah, it just has just dirt.
It's just a dirt.
Hilarious.
But that's what he did. And then he stopped getting fined for it. Because he was getting fined daily, and he's like, I'm not taking it out.
What is this now? The real debate. What did he just like interject his own comments? Or I gotta see this. What is this now? I need sound. Where's the sound? Does this not have sound?
Wait.
I don't understand what this is. Please.
Oh, that's RFK. He's trolling.
He's gotta be.
He's trolling because he wasn't allowed on the debate stage. Which is kind of messed up. At the same
True.
point, I don't. RFK is another Democrat, like hardcore left Democrat, that wants to ban firearms, and he follows right in line with all that shit.
Well, I guess we'll bring this over here.
I guess it's time for bed.
What are your final thoughts?
I think I probably only had a couple shots of whiskey, but I'm really tired. No, I think in the long run, because it was on CNN and Trump actually kept his composure, I think that's gonna actually help Trump.
It might, yeah, I think. I don't
Because
know.
the
I
way
just
he
kind of
posts
feel
himself.
like that the Democrats are gonna try to just like sway that whole.
It doesn't work.
They're gonna
though.
make it try to make it look like they won no matter what. I really don't. I feel like honestly the way it was set up, it was pretty even.
It was pretty.
There was no clear like, oh, is this way or that way. It was just kind of neutral because they were like, oh, asshole over here this, asshole over there that.
Right. We can't stop yawning.
Same.
I think it'll help him out, but it's not gonna be much, but it's still gonna help him out. I think the majority of the things that the left does, where they try and twist things a certain way
Mhm.
to make it seem like, oh, we won. Oh, yeah, we indicted him. Oh, yeah. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. They
Every-
honestly they didn't touch on the convicted felon thing as much as I thought they were going to.
Yeah, surprisingly, no.
They-
everything that they do though, it always backfires,
Always.
and it backfires
Majorly.
majorly. So
Bigly.
bigly. Huge. But it backfires on them.
It does.
So it's just like the new, we were talking about this earlier with Caleb, the new thing with the selective service and automatically registering to vote and all that.
Oh yeah,
bullshit.
yep.
I think the majority of that stuff, they think that people are so brainwashed That's why they think they'll win. But I think that they overplayed their hand. Because they have.
I think so too.
When you see even like the hardest person on the, well, maybe not the hardest, but you see people on the left that are like, oh shit, we really fucked up, and I'm not voting this way again. That's happening all over the place.
Yeah.
Like, you even shift it. A 10% shift's not hard. And that's a big fucking deal.
Let me see if I have the audio working now. No, I was just kind of fucking with it. Ooh.
Wait, what?
It is working.
And these people is down here in Atlanta.
That was
in
wild.
traffic in the back of a budget truck.
What is this? Oh, did you see this?
And they need some help.
These people were
Hands tied
driving
up.
and
I made the call for them. And these people is
budget
down here
truck.
in Atlanta.
There's people in. Look, there's a
in
man.
traffic
Oh,
in the back of a budget truck.
He called 911 and
I made the call for them.
Oh, people that cross the border?
Yeah, I think so. Trafficking. Okay, I figured out what it was. What is this now?
Do with more border patrol on the total initiative relative to what we're going to do with more border patrol and more asylum officers.
President Trump?
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't know what he said either.
Did you
Look,
catch that?
we had the safest
No.
border in the history of our country. The border.
Where's the thing? There it is.
The total initiative relative to what we're going to do with more border patrol and more asylum officers.
President Trump?
What officers?
Asylum officers, I think is what he
Oh, what is that a thing? Is that people that process like asylum requests, or
said. I don't know. I thought that just goes through border security.
I don't know how it works. I mean, my coworker's a legal immigrant. He just last year became a citizen, and I'll have to ask him how exactly that whole process works.
The total initiative relative to what we're going to do with more border patrol and more asylum officers.
Asylum
President Trump?
officers. Yeah.
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't know what he said either. Look, we had the safest border in the history of our country. The border, all he had to do was leave it. All
That's
he had to do was
understandable. I
leave it.
can understand.
On
No, it didn't make much
total
sense until you
initiative
listened to it twice.
relative to what we're going to do with more border patrol and more.
Like I don't know what he said at the end of that there.
I don't know what he said, but I'm just gonna move on. So Democrats are already talking about their concern with how Biden performed.
It does kind of seem that way, yeah. So far, it's looking like. But that honestly, it could just be these fucking accounts that are saying
Wait,
like
scroll up.
we're here, all this Hakuwa shit.
Never mind.
When promotion becomes available, Hakuwa.
Oh, Kamala Harris would definitely hawk to on that thing.
Fuck, that's funny.
She would definitely hawk to on that thing.
That shit is hilarious. Seen a bald eagle this morning.
Oh, that's sweet.
It was pretty cool.
That's sweet.
What is this now?
Oh.
Have you seen this man? Michigan State Police are looking for Eric Fiddler, man accused of shooting a Hillsdale County deputy on Thursday.
Damn.
No shit, he looks like somebody that would do something like that.
It's fair. Yeah. It definitely does look like somebody would do that. Yeah.
Oh, is this a video? Oh no, it's like a link. Well, I guess that's that.
Of the equation for the last. So I've dealt with politicians all my life. I've been on this side of the equation for the last 8 years. I've never seen
That's
anybody
not all
lie
your
like this
life.
guy. He lies. I've never seen it. He could look you in the face. About so many other things too.
I
So
said
I've
he's
dealt
dealt
with
with
politicians.
politicians all his life, but he's only dealt with them this way the past 8 years.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That's what I got from that.
Okay.
Because he dealt with politicians because of real estate and all the stuff that he was doing in business, all the red tape that he had to jump through.
What is this now?
Thinking about how he could. You heard Joe's heart tonight on the debate stage. He wakes up every morning thinking about how he can make the lives of Americans better.
All right. Hold on. You expect people that just got done watching that debate to believe what you're telling them right now?
Is that Joe?
Yeah. You just heard what he said.
You heard
No, you know what
Joe's
she's
heart
doing.
tonight on the debate stage.
She's coming
He
to try
wakes up every morning thinking about how he can make the lives of Americans better.
be the cleanup.
He's the president.
How do
we
people
need,
believe this
the
garbage?
president you deserve.
I know that they do,
Sign
but
up at
how?
Bro, she's not even a real
to
doctor.
help finish the job.
Finish what
heard
job? You haven't
Joe's
even
heart
started
tonight
a
on the
job.
debate stage. He wakes up
Dr. Jill Biden, who's not even a real doctor, has her doctorate in some stupid ass bullshit.
This. That right there.
Yeah, I mean, I understand.
Both of them are tyrants at the end of the day.
I understand, but at the same time, I have to have optimism. That's too dark for me, though.
I mean, that's fair. That is a giant keyboard.
It's already dark. It's already dark enough, bro.
I mean, that's true.
I'm like, oh, look at this 9mm.
Right. Oh, this one. Hilarious. Also hilarious. 10 hours. I want, like, right now. Well,
Yeah,
I think that's going to do it.
I'm gonna do it. I gotta be up early anyway. At 4.
4. Oh, I don't even think we're showing the screen right now. Whatever. Well, if there's anybody still watching.
It wasn't showing.
It wasn't showing the screen. We're just here, like, talking about stuff we're seeing and not you.
Yeah, you can't see it. All right. Well,
To
yeah.
be fair, I've had some whiskey.
And we're both like about to pass the fuck out.
It's bedtime. Yeah, well, that was fun. Hope you all had fun. If there's anybody around, feel free to hit the like.
There's one watching now. But
Wow.
Hey,
Well then,
have a good
hey, thanks for
night.
sticking. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button, share with your friends, all that stuff. We haven't been able to stream as much as our previous, like in the wintertime, we got a lot of time. Once it's warm out, we got shit going on.
so busy.
Yeah, so
Like my boys have already started their football conditioning and football practice, and it's just
fun stuff.
I'm just on the go.
Makes sense.
But
Makes sense.
yeah, make sure you hit the like button.
Yeah,
share,
like button,
comment,
subscribe, do all those things. Thanks for sticking around. Glad we didn't get banned today. That was cool.
No
I
bans.
totally thought we were gonna get like shut down or whatever, like
Right.
that one random time when we were showing Tucker Carlson's street thing. That didn't make sense.
That didn't
But
make
whatever. Okay.
That didn't make sense. But yeah, have a good night.
Yeah. Take it easy.